Hello and welcome to Post-Burnout.com interviews. Post-Burnout.com is a culture website dedicated to venerating burnt-out artists the world over. My name is Aaron Kavanagh and I'm the website's founder and editor-in-chief. This is our website's podcast where we publish the full interviews from our site's articles and sometimes release exclusive episodes. In this edition of Post-Burnout.com interviews, Andy McGurk, the founder and frontman of the Waterford-based experimental lo-fi band A Lethal Black Ooze, discusses forming the project after being unable to move to Australia, working with members of Gilla Band and M for their initial lineup, how the band's latest song Rosie tries to reclaim sexist stereotypes around marriage, the Waterford music scene, getting on Mike Watts' The Waft from Pedro Show, and much more. A Lethal Black Ooze will be performing at Onshot in Dublin on August 22nd. That gig will also feature Creepy Future and The Usuals. Tickets are €10 at the door. Thank you very much and enjoy.
Hey Aaron, can you hear me?
Hey Andy, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Am I coming through all right? Let me see.
I can hear you perfectly fine. Yeah, I can't see you, but that's okay. I can hear you fine.
Hold on, I think I can get this working. It's picking up my webcam. It just won't let me.
There we go.
There we go. How's it going, man? I haven't
very
used
well.
Zoom. I haven't used Zoom since the pandemic, so apologies.
Oh, I'm sorry to re-trigger those memories. Kind of fitting, actually, for the band, considering its background. So, are you now remembering why you started all now?
I know, yeah, like even the song that we're going to talk about today, like Rosie, the single, is very much a pandemic song. Like I sat on it for years, and then myself and my wife foster cats here in Waterford, where we live.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how it came up, but they were taking donations for like vet bills and things like that because it's kitten season at the moment. I don't know if that's something you would know.
I actually don't know kitten season, so is that when it has to do with when they, I guess, are fertile? Or?
Yeah. So I don't know a lot about it scientifically, only
Sure.
that around this time every year, just a million kittens get born and they all have to either be rescued, kind of neutered, looked after, vaccinated, and all that sort of stuff. So we have like a downstairs bathroom in our house that we kind of have set up for like basically cats to come and live. So we found out that the rescue center that we foster for were like looking for donations, and I was like, you know what, I've been sitting on this song for ages and it's very much thematically about like my cat coming in, us adopting my cat during the pandemic. And I was like, you know what, this might be a cool opportunity. Let's put that out there and raise some funds for the rescue center. So it's been a lot of fun kind of dropping it or whatever.
I actually didn't know any of that. My surface level reading was that it was a song about your wife.
Yeah. I got in touch with Ree to kind of help me with the sort of plugging and stuff of it, but it was really quite an offhand decision a couple of weeks ago to release it. Where I was just like, okay, this is going to be this will be a cool thing. And then because you pour your heart and soul into all of these songs, you do want it to do the rounds. You want people to hear it. You want kind of. So I reached out to Ree from Cobra to kind of help me with that. So she's unreal. Yeah, like I've learned so much from her from kind of just watching her space or whatever. So I reached out to her to help me with all the kind of plugging side of it. But behind the scenes, there's this whole other cat scene happening. Yeah, it's really weird when I say it out loud, but yeah, it's but yeah, that's kind of what's going on. The whole thing is centered around the pandemic, though, anyway, and obviously we're thankfully now most like out of it. I guess mostly out of it. Are we still worried about COVID?
I don't know. Like, yeah, it's weird because, like, I think apathy has crept in around COVID, even though it hasn't gone away. It's still technically here. But like now, every time, because like I periodically get like colds and flus, and I'm always just like COVID. You know what I mean? It's like so. For me, it has. I think it hasn't left my hypochondriac side of my mind, but I think like my day to day isn't affected by it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I would still wonder if I have to stay inside for a week if I was suddenly coming down with like a cold or something like that, but I don't think any of that is still in place, thankfully.
Yeah, no, you can just spread it around now. You're
right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules were because remember it was a 2 week. I think like prior to the vaccine, it was like 2 weeks, you isolate for 2 weeks, and then after the vaccine was like 1 week. So I just kind of assumed that's still the rule. I don't know. You haven't heard
I know,
updates.
yeah, I don't know.
It was kind of crazy because like I was actually in college when that was happening, and I was doing new media studies out in IDT, and we had to do a report on statistical numbing, which is like basically just it's a theory that like the more things are kind of brought to you, the more statistics you kind of witness, the more it just becomes noise and numbers. And I did it actually, it was just coincidental timing on RTE's reporting of COVID numbers. This was probably a year before like the vaccine came out, and it was so grim. Like I reread it. I was collecting a portfolio of work, and I was rereading some of my parts, and it's so grim. It's like, hundreds of people dead every day and stuff, and just seeing that
No, but
on the
it's so
news all the
true.
time.
Like I can't even listen to the news now, if I'm
Yeah,
honest, because and like this is obviously uh like it's an awful thing that's going on over in Gaza. But like
yeah,
I'm struggling to have it's the same with like Trump. Fed up listening to
yeah.
about Trump. Fed up, like I'm not fed up hearing about Gaza. It's important that that thing stops, but at
Hmm.
the same time, like it, turning on the news in any way, shape, or form is just a kind of a revolving door of Trump, Gaza, like sort of what's happening out in the EU about rearming. Um, and if you go back to the pandemic, it was just the numbers, the deaths. I don't know if you remember the like four vaccines that were released, and
Yeah.
like the news was like reporting on which one was most effective by
I
percentage
actually did forget about
and
this. Yeah,
like
I remember now.
mental stuff. But
And you couldn't like decide which one you wanted to get. It was just kind of like what everyone was offered to you, if I remember correctly. So I
yeah,
remember like some
yeah.
friends was like, "Yeah, I'm just getting the one shot," and then I was like, whatever one I got was like you had to get two and all that. You had to get the booster,
You got
and
the AstraZeneca. You
I
got
guess so.
the
Yeah, I can't even remember.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it really is just like I think like we've collectively repressed that time in our
yeah,
head, and now it's just like kind of coming to the forefront,
yeah.
and all this just triggered by Zoom.
I know. Yeah, and I think why all this ties in is really like interesting because I don't think I realized until maybe even a year ago where I realized that so much of that kind of natural anxiety that society goes through has like completely directed how I write music
Yeah,
actually. And like the band was born in the pandemic. Myself and my wife were planning to go to Australia. That fell through.
yeah,
Australia closed its borders, so that wasn't going to happen. And my original plan was to move to Perth, Australia, and start this band and like use it as a way of meeting people and like playing music with people and getting to know the city by playing gigs and stuff.
yeah.
Once that fell through, it was just me in my living room and like a load of what you were mentioning there, a load of like burnout statistics about like about like and yeah, I don't know. I remember just there was a decision where I was like, no, I think I'm just going to do it anyway because it's something to do. And
Yeah.
it's been a lot of like, it's a lot of fun. So that's kind of how the band started. And it really very much started off as a one person show, but it's not that at all. Like I have close friends that I play with, like, on Rosie, which is the single that's just gone out. Adam Faulkner from Gilla Band's drumming on it,
Sick.
and Jamie Hyland from Mail is playing bass on it, and she produced it as well. Um, and it's a lot of fun. They're like old friends of mine from years ago, and it's like a lot of fun. But then I'm playing with two fellas from Waterford locally, and we have a whole album written that our bassist has busted his hand at the moment, so we're waiting for that to heal, and then we'll go recording. But whatever amount of time that
Actually, that's
takes,
remind me. I was when I was doing research. I was listening to the interview you did with Who Art Thou. Didn't you mention like early on you had a busted hand or something like that? Is that just like a curse? Is that just like a
yeah.
curse on this project?
Yeah, yeah, and Tommy, my mate Tommy, who plays bass with me in Waterford here, so he was showing me his cast, and he's had some pretty heavy surgery on his hand and stuff. Um, and I was like, kind of like, that's so bizarre. So I was like going back through on the band Instagram page. If you scroll the whole way to the bottom, the first one is of me with a busted hand, and getting like a new guitar and like not being able to play it because my hand is broken.
So
Um,
if you introduce new band members, you have to be like, okay, there is a rite of passage, and you're not going to like it, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
test your dedication here.
Well, it's just, you also have to be careful with it because I had my own experience and Tommy's having his own experience. And when somebody's living through it, it sucks.
Yeah,
Now I can kind of laugh at it, but unfortunately, that's kind of the thing that I need to watch out for is when Tommy, because Tommy might have gone through surgery maybe only 6 weeks ago for it, and I'm like thinking back at all these ridiculous, funny things that I had to do, which at the time I remember being quite depressed about. But it's 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line, I'm kind of like laughing at it now. So I just have to watch. I just have to
so
watch that part of it.
that's how you're kind of reconciling. You're like, listen, I know it sucks now, but give it 6 years.
I've definitely said that to him. I was like, this
Give it
will be
six
something you
years.
laugh at. I'll be like, this will be something you laugh at, but like for now it sucks. Yeah. But
I want to ask something there, yeah, just that you kind of glossed over that I really want to ask. You were talking about like you were planning on moving to Perth. When you said it to me, I was thinking, well, Perth seems like so divorced from the rest of Australia because it's just on the west coast, and like kind of all the major cities in Australia are kind of like sort of eastern and southern, like southeast up to kind of like northeast.
yeah.
So why Perth?
So my mother-in-law lives over in Perth. So
Okay.
there's some actual roots there. And but also we'd been over to visit her, so I knew it and I knew I liked the city. And I think, Australia obviously has a massively booming music scene across the entire
Yeah.
continent. I don't know, is it an island? Is it a continent? I'm not sure.
I think it
It's
is now. I think
huge.
Oceania is the continent because it includes New
Right.
Zealand, and I
Right. Okay.
think maybe some of the islands surrounding it. I think
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, yeah. But I do think you can classify Australia as a continent, but I tend not to because I don't want to exclude the Kiwis.
Yeah. Giant islands. Anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
it'd be kind of like someone calling like Ireland the UK or something like that. I'd be like, ah, come on, guys.
yeah, right. No, 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 just complete sacrilege. Like,
Hmm. I don't know if they
um,
have that kind of like animosity, but just I respect independence. I'd say.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I don't know if they have that animosity either.
I
Now
don't
that you
know.
mention
I once was talking to an Aussie and I couldn't discern his accent, so I said, "Are you an Aussie or Kiwi?" And he kind of went, "Kiwi," like
it. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
So
Maybe
maybe
I don't
there's a
know.
little bit. Maybe there's that neighbor's
Yeah,
animosity of like,
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I like I can't make out the differences between American and Canadian accents. I
Yeah,
just
I'm the same.
can't
I'm the
hear the
exact
difference.
same. Like
Yeah,
you can hear it when they say like a boot and a couple of little words
yeah,
like that kind of like give the game away. Like it reminds me of that scene in Glorious Bastards when he does the tree or something like that. Like a boot,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You're
that
right.
kind of thing.
Great scene
That's
as well.
like you have to listen to like things like that. It's like yeah, I love the Ulster pronunciation of situation. I think that's amazing. But that's like the giveaway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's probably, I'd imagine they've just got that kind of neighborly sort of thing about it. But Perth also, home to Tame Impala, like growing up. I'm less into them now. Tame Impala is kind of more of a sort of quite a poppy, it's gone really deep into the pop stuff.
hmm
And I'm neither hitting on criticizing that nor praising it, but their early stuff, massively influential growing up. So I think I was also kind of a little bit like curious about it from an artistic standpoint as a city. Um,
yeah.
since then, obviously, like the chats from Queensland and I think like what is it?
Amel and the Sniffers.
Amelins
Yeah,
and yeah,
is it Amel or Amel? I don't know. I'm always mispronouncing
I
it.
think I'm not sure.
It
I'm
might
not
be
sure. I,
Amel. I
I
don't
say
know.
Amel,
Amy Taylor's band. I'll say that.
but it does have something to do with. It does have something. I don't know. It's something inappropriate.
Yeah.
I once said it to I once said it to my father-in-law, and he just started laughing, and I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not going to ask about that again. But yeah, I think they're from Melbourne or
I think
Sydney.
so. Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think.
so like the whole island has an amazing music scene, but yeah, Perth, I would growing up, I would listen to all of that early Tame Impala stuff and Pond, especially like 2020. I don't know if you've listened to any of them, but it's like Tame Impala is what's your man Kevin, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
um, and the band was all Pond, so it was Kevin plus Pond was Tame Impala, and then Pond would release these albums on their own without Kevin,
Yeah.
and all of it was just amazing. And it was kind of my first real introduction into I guess that sort of psychedelic-y kind of sound, um, and that lo-fi sort of thing. So yeah, it was hugely influential growing up and stuff. And you probably hear it in some of my music now. Although I am trying to get away from it a little bit, um, by kind of flipping my writing process on its head a little bit. So it's not just me playing kind of chords with washed out sort of effects the whole time. But
How is the sound changing then? Because like to me, the two singles that have come out so far, since your EP. Now you obviously mentioned Rosie is kind of like a hangover from COVID times, but to me it doesn't actually seem too dissimilar to what we've heard on that EP. So are these like not the best examples of the sound going forward, or is this kind
yeah,
of what you're in at the minute?
so the album that I have written with the two guys from Waterford has kind of, I think it's evolved quite a bit compositionally in that like I've been less scared to um I should probably say we have been no, me personally, because they wouldn't have been necessarily in the first set of songs. But the songs are a bit longer and a bit more expansive, and they have a lot more like kind of textures and kind of guitar bits in it. Whereas like what I wanted to do when I was starting out in the pandemic was really like kind of reduce what I was hearing. I kind of felt like I was listening to a lot of songs at the time that were like 4.5 minutes long, expansive bits, whereas I really just wanted to listen to a 1 minute song that kind of got to the point and stopped. So I would say that the structure is probably a little bit less scared to be a little bit more expansive in that way. But there's still a bit of time. Like we haven't recorded that yet. But with regards to like Rosie and Shatu, they're definitely songs that were written sort of late pandemic. Um, Ultimately, I held on to them, and I'm kind of just releasing them now as I'm sort of preparing for this kind of album recording session and things like that, just to kind of keep flow moving and kind of show that there's still activity happening because we had a really busy 2023, um, and then 2024 I went touring with my friend's band, and that kind of took all of my spare time for that year.
Yeah.
And now we're back, and I'm just sort of like back releasing singles and stuff like that. I'm kind of planning what I want to do next with it all. But I'm exciting, and I already have plans for like how I'm going to flip the process on its head again. But these are just ideas at the moment, and nothing practical has actually happened. So yeah, it's
So,
fun.
are there going to be more singles released from that time that have yet to come out, or is now kind of like just all focus on the album?
There are some more singles. Yeah. I kind of, it's funny, I'm really like, I'm really loose about my plans with stuff these days. I kind of, spent 2023 feeling like everything had to be very regimented and kind of controlled and released within certain time frames. And these press people all needed to know about it and things like that. And it kind of
Yeah.
sucked the life out of it a little bit for me because suddenly your little garage rock project is actually an admin job. And whilst I was really grateful for like how many people picked it up and played it and stuff, and that stuff was amazing, and it still is. Like, I don't know if I've said thank you for taking an interest in this. Like,
Oh,
it's,
absolutely. Yeah,
you
no, of
know,
course.
but um, but it kind of sucked the life out of it. Like, it pulled the air out of it for me a little bit because you do spend a lot of time when you're planning singles and planning release schedules, just like on your phone, on your Gmail, sort of reading emails and writing press releases and sending more
Yeah.
press releases. And
And it
then
takes
after
up
a
your
while,
entire day. I don't think people even really realize, like, even like writing just like a basic EPK that's like 500 words or so takes so goddamn long.
because it's the quality part of it, it's not like
Yes.
if you were just to like kind of fart out 500 words. The problem with that is people can see that, right?
Yeah.
Like you can see that this person's made no effort or that they're kind of just taking the piss. And it's difficult to taking the piss is good if like
That's your attitude. That's the kind of realm of
well,
the band.
yeah, but there's also a quality to that. Like good
Yeah.
quality piss taking will never be a bad thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'd say if you were just kind of like if you're too cool for the EPK thing, that will you'll read that. You'll see that in the press kit, and then it's like, well, what kind of impression are you if you're
Yeah.
just sort of too cool for the thing, then like
Yeah.
why should anyone listen to you? You know, so
Yeah, like,
it's
hey, we're a band, we make music, listen to us, that kind of thing. Yeah.
right,
To be
exactly. So
fair, I
then
haven't
it's
encountered too many of that. Like through doing this for like about, oh Jesus Christ, almost 5 years now, I'd say.
yeah,
Most EPKs have some dedication, but even like sometimes like you can kind of tell, like obviously you get like, as you mentioned, like Cobra and some of the PR companies who know exactly what they're doing, hit the beats, know exactly like what to highlight and what to kind of put on there. Really great at editing, really great at writing things up. But then you do get people who are kind of doing them themselves, and you kind of like, you can tell that you're kind of like, it reminds me of like writing a cover letter for like a job or something like that. You're always like, oh geez, here we go.
I know, right?
And
And yeah,
it's not that they're apathetic or they're disinterested or they're too cool for school. It's just like, it is a skill set, and they want to focus on music and doing their thing, and you can't expect everyone to have that. I mean, this is why pure people kind of exist. They know how to make things succinct but also highlight the big moments.
100%. Yeah, I agree. So it's like that 500 words, if you're trying to put quality behind it, now whatever that means for you and your like band, then that takes time actually, and it takes time and it kind of takes rewrites. I don't know,
Yeah.
like because like I'm very thankful to have Ree on board helping me with this one, but like back in 2023, I was doing it all myself. So and she actually gave me loads of advice back then as well. So it's kind of fun to be working with her on this one. But I'd write a thing and then I'd like have to walk away. Like it wouldn't just be done. And then I'd have to come back and be like, you know what? This paragraph doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And you'd rewrite it. But then suddenly you can see kind of where that time is going. So but back to my like kind of original point, I spent a lot of 2023 doing that. The irony is it wouldn't take me that long. Once I get into the room with two friends and we're having the crack over like a 1.5 minute garage punk song, it doesn't take me that long to write the song. It doesn't even take me that long to record the song. Like we can go in, and because part of it is that it's a little bit sort of edgy, it's a little bit lo-fi. We're trying to I think I'm enjoying the level of production that like Rosie is at, but like the earlier stuff, the brief was very lo-fi. Like let's see how lo-fi we can go before it kind of becomes mush. Um, but it wouldn't even take us that long to record, mix the songs. But here I am pouring hours and hours and hours into press releases and reaching out to people and stuff like that. And it's all a very important process, right? But
Yeah.
I did find I was like less enthusiastic about kind of all of the admin side of it this time around. So I do have plans. I do have singles. They will be released. I'm trying to find out a balance between it being a high quality release and also still having the most fun that I can have with it without
Yeah.
it becoming this
Yeah.
college assignment every time I want to release a song. Do you know, like,
I absolutely get what you're saying. Yeah, like there is a difficult balance too, where like you want the quality to be the best it can be, but like I think of like Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. He was always kind of my exemplar, who actually unfortunately passed away recently. But he was trying to make like the perfect record, for example. And I always just think of this as like an example, and he just spent like a decade or two, just like kind of fucking with everything and just trying to meticulously detail every little sound, every little soundscape, every little pitch, every chord. And it's just like, I don't think anything eventuated from that. So I don't know, to some degree, I actually think the advice I always give people is sometimes deadlines are actually kind of a good thing because like you can't
yeah.
overthink it in a way. I don't know if you've ever had to have like music out for a certain deadline or if you just had like kind of the freedom to experiment.
No, the only real deadline that I think that's recurring every year is making sure that we were kind of ready to like apply for festivals. So,
Yeah.
but like other than I think otherwise I kind of have never been that interested in sort of keeping to deadlines. Thankfully, we've never like had like that pressure from a label where like friends of mine, so like I was on tour with my mate's band Melts last
Yeah.
year. So they were on Fuzz Club and it was really fun and eye-opening to see kind of how the interactions with the label and stuff like that happened while we were on tour. But they would have had deadlines for the end of that second album that they released. and I've never had that before. So like that, I am thankfully quite naive to that sort of that world. Like, but but to that point,
Actually, before you continue, I just want to say, actually, naivety can ironically be a very good way of getting the gears running, because I think
yeah,
if some people knew ahead of time just how arduous it was, they probably would be like, "Fuck this." But like, actually, I think even if someone does have naivety and someone who's a bit more seasoned goes, "Okay, but it's going to take like this many years before you get to like this level, and this many years before you get to this level," they still probably like, "Well, that won't be the case with me."
I
You know,
know. Yeah, I
everyone kind of
know.
have that
I know.
expectation.
I know. I know. I think
So I think it's a
like
good thing in a way. For I think actually naivety can be quite conducive.
yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't know what you hate about
Yeah,
about what's coming, then it can't stop you. But
yeah,
to your point about like tweaking and things like that, like I find like I would struggle working in that style anyway, pretty naturally. I don't know if it's because I'm impatient or if it's because I do believe that spending too much time on something will make it worse.
mm,
And
yeah.
I have no like proof or like scientific reasoning behind that, but um when I'm writing songs a lot of the time, the ones that really come through and like stand out as special are always the ones that I ended up spending 40 seconds on and was just sort of rambling and then kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's have a look at
Dude,
that.
you won't believe the amount of times I've heard that. That is such a universal
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. And whereas like I remember there was one line in particular that I wrote years and years ago. And I was sure it was the best guitar line I'd ever written. And I
Yeah,
spent hours slaving over it and I just couldn't make it work. Couldn't make it work. And I still in my head have that like feeling in my stomach of like trying to grab something that's just kind of maybe not there. But then in the end it's always the ones that you come up with over 10 seconds that and then suddenly you bring it into the room and you know maybe Jamie does something on the bass or maybe Tommy does something or maybe like Alfonso our drummer does something and then suddenly the song is like oh something just like lands with that and that
yeah.
you know uh, the songs that you spend months on are the ones that end up being the worst. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. So there's a couple of producers down here that I know their style is to like sit down, record a line, reamp it. I don't know if you know what that is. It's whenever it like I think it's basically when they take the recorded line and like put it into an output of an amp and then put it back through the microphone and like they're
Mm,
tweaking EQs and adding different guitar effects and things like that to it. But you could spend all day just doing that and still be
yeah.
kind of no closer to having a sound that you think is what you're looking for.
Yeah, I
You know?
agree, and I also think sometimes like having limitations, like physical limitations, can be advantageous too, because you have to focus on writing good songs that you can play through your crappy equipment, rather than having like a litany of guitars and amps and presets and like all different kind of effects, pedals and everything, and
Yeah.
really trying to just like get the perfect pitch, the perfect tone. Where I do think a lot of that stuff can actually be very I don't know, destructive to creativity. I mean, like I remember like when I had dude, my first like acoustic guitar was like this like shitty little nylon string guitar that I bought from Argos for 50 quid. And
A
dude,
little
I
Spanish thing.
so yeah,
A
dude,
little
and
Spanish thing. Everyone starts on the Spanish thing.
I had so much fun
Yeah.
with that damn thing, man. That was so much fun. But then like once I
Yeah.
upgraded to like electric, and I realized like, oh, this actually takes talent to get a good guitar tone. Like you actually kind of have to know what you're doing. Suddenly, a lot of that was that mystique was lost, or that the kind of not mystique, but more kind of just like natural, organic trail of just like writing a good song.
Right. Yeah,
Has
of
that been your kind of
course.
experience with that too, or
I would say I tried it. I don't know if you can see from like the camera here. I
yeah?
have like my guitar amp and like I've got my there. This is like a
Oh well,
little pedal board I have. So I try to make it as pick up and play as possible. So like everything is just on and I just hit one switch on the wall and then it's going. And I'm like, okay, cool.
yeah,
Now I'm just playing. So I try to reduce any form of like plugging and leads and stuff because when I'm like I don't sound like corny or whatever, but when I'm feeling inspired, I just press a button then and it goes. But you're right, I think that's the biggest takeaway because like when I'm writing a lot of the time, I'll hear something kind of come up in my head, and I think I'll have about 2 or 3 minutes to sort of try to translate that to real life. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I'll
it's gone.
kind of
Yeah, yeah,
forget what it sounds like, and I'll
yeah,
never pull it back again. Like I'll never
yeah.
find it again. So, um, yeah, it just kind of everything has to sort of happen now, almost like actually the funny thing is I've probably written most of the songs on acoustic guitars that have just been lying around friends' house anyway. And
Mm.
when I've been like a bit hungover or something like that, I'm just kind of blasting it out. But yeah, to your point, it is I did find I try to reduce all the extra steps that kind of come with like having an electric guitar over having like an acoustic guitar.
I have to ask for songwriting for you. Does it kind of come from you have an idea in your head and you try to translate that on a guitar, or how much of it do you think just comes from just noodling and then like discovering something and kind of going with that?
Yeah, like that it's a real mix.
Yeah,
I think the only pattern that I really sort of notice is like 90% of my songs are guitar first, in that like I'll come up with a rhythm that I really like, and then I'll try to like work melodies around it by just sort of singing whatever,
yeah,
like literally singing rubbish, trying to kind
yeah,
of grab a melody that I like. And when I've got the melody, then over a period of between now until I record the thing, the lyrics are completely open season. Like they can kind of change and stuff. But um, for like Rosie as an example, I was stuck in traffic in Grand Canal Dock on the way to Yellow Door rehearsal space to jam, and I came up with the whole vocal line just in my head because I was bored, and like there's a recording of me sitting. I recorded it on my phone, and like I thought
would that
I
be
didn't know
ever like a B-side?
it was yeah. Well, it kind of sounded ridiculous when it was just when it's just vocals because it sounds almost like a nursery rhyme until you
Yeah.
put the really silly punk backing track to it, right? And I had no idea what it was, but for some reason I felt compelled to record it, and I just thought it was really funny. And then I showed Jamie and Ian in Yellow Door. Then maybe that same day, I can't remember if it was that same day or if it was like a week later or whatever. Um, and what you got was that kind of silly little punk song that's and also there's one thing I want to stress about this is something
Go
that
ahead.
people always think is when they hear the lyrics they think I'm slagging off my wife, right? I am not. I'm not
I didn't
slagging
want
off
to
my wife.
say anything.
Yeah. No, it's not at all. It's really more of a play. I thought it was kind of more of a funny playful observation on the fact that we were both like locked inside all day,
Yeah.
and then we had just adopted this cat, and the cat was like meowing at 6 in the morning for attention and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so the lyrics are like a play on that sort of interaction, the like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thing. But what I also love about it is I think people are kind of maybe less so now, but back when I wrote it like 2, 3 years ago, or whenever the lockdown was, my time has gone all over the place. I can't
You're
even
gonna
remember.
hate me when I tell
4 years.
you it was half a decade ago.
5 years ago. Fucking hell,
Yeah,
man.
well, that's when the first lockdowns began. It kind of
When did
bled
it
over
end?
until
Yeah,
like,
because this would have been the
technically it
three
eased
quarter
up
mark.
around 2011, kind of ish. Like things were starting to open back around the autumn of 2011. I think
I hope not
really it's
2011. I
still.
hope it's 2020. I hope you mean
Well, I was just about
2021.
to say, if this is any solace to you, I do think things didn't really start kicking into full gear until like maybe like the summer of 2022. I think that's when
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
vaccines started rolling out and people, or maybe now.
So
Actually, I'm doubting my own memory now. I
I
actually can't
can't, can't
remember.
remember it. Right.
And
So
dude,
let's
this
just
is such
say
like recent history too. But
yeah,
like, yeah, I
let's
can't
just say
remember.
three-quarters of the way through the
Yeah,
pandemic or
we'll just say
something like that.
in the 21st century sometime.
In the 21st century, yeah, absolutely.
Within
Some
the
point,
first 2 decades of the 21st
some point in
century.
the first quarter of this decade.
Actually, that's
Um,
something I loved when I went up to your Spotify. I said we're banned from the 20s. I'm like, that's scary.
I think you're the first person that's ever got that because
Yeah, that is
yeah,
scary.
like that was yeah, I know, and it is weird to think that we're sort of like we're the new 20s.
Yeah. Well, in
Um,
35 years, people can earnestly say they're a 60s band.
I know, right? That'd be kind of jealous of
Yeah.
that, to be honest.
Well, just
Um,
start a new project then, and then you can use it.
yeah, But no, it's very much not that. And actually, I kind of said I did actually mention it to her. I was like, here, just so you're aware, I'm running the song, and these are the lyrics. And
Yeah.
I kind of like it because I'm sort of I like to talk about the fact that this is going to sound a little bit strange. Maybe it's a bit out of date, and I'd be interested to hear your view on it. But like, I think when you watch like too much TV, right? Mentioning your wife or mentioning your other half or your husband in any fashion, right? So it's not just a wife, but also any kind of mention of your partner or your husband is kind of seen as like a ball and chain-esque type
Yeah. It
communication.
has
And
that
that's actually
connotation of like
why,
1970s comedy or something.
right. And what I love about it is when people listen to Rosie, they always say to me, it sounds like you're slagging off your wife.
Hmm.
But I would counter and say that that's because you've watched too much American TV growing up, and that's
Hmm.
the only reason why it sounds like that. In fact, I kind of thought it was sort of interesting because I hadn't really heard bands or artists talk about like using the word husband, wife, you know, and putting it to the front of their song. I hadn't
That's a good
heard that
point, yeah.
before. So when the line came to me, I went, "That's kind of cool," and I kind of thought it was sort of interesting sounding, and also because I was only newly married at the time, like I was only married in 2021. I was all excited about it, and like it was, and it still remains to be uh something that I really cherish. But
Hmm.
but I kind of almost felt like it was more interesting to use the word wife as a lyric and put it out into the front because it had that response in people. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? And
No, absolutely,
you
yeah.
know, like my I go there's my gym instructor down here actually listened to the song and he said it sounds like you're slagging off Rachel. And I was like, well, I'm not. Like, it was like, you know, but it's funny that people always have that response to it, and I don't know if that's because like people are watching too much Sex in the City and Friends and stuff like that, and also, you know, like The Simpsons. The Simpsons is a
Yeah.
great example
Actually,
of
Homer and Marge
like
are example of a couple that are
completely, man.
very close.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
100%. Like
Actually,
Homer
to be fair,
is
now that I think of it, I think animation might be better because King of the Hill, very similar. They love each other.
right, right. Your man like
Peggy and
scratching his
Hill.
belly on the side of thing
Yeah,
with a
like
beer.
even like Family Guy, Peter and Lois love each other. Kind of, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
It
Like
depends
all
on
of
what they
them.
need for that episode.
But it's like all of them, genuinely. It's like it's all of them. Like we grew up watching TV where like
Married with Children, yeah,
married with, yeah, but
yeah. But
even
what's
just
it?
married, like
Alan
is,
Peggy was it?
yeah, like it all
Yeah,
feels like it's been very kind of like sort of like squashed. Like it can
yeah,
be, you know, squashed and sort of like pigeonholed into, you know, oh, if you're married, somehow you're living a lesser life or you're not free or something like that. But all I think all of that is actually just rubbish, and it feels like it's just kind of American culture being like forced down all of our throats. Um,
I will give some leeway to the Americans. I do think British comedy is also guilty of that as well.
oh
Like
yeah,
if you
they
look at
all
like anything from
are.
the
They all
70s, they're
are.
all like, "Oh, me
Yeah,
wife," yeah.
yeah, they all are. I think I might
No, but
be.
that is a great observation. I never even really realized that like if you say my husband or wife, it automatically has a negative connotation.
If you're out with the lads, and thankfully you know, I want to say that like I'm very lucky to have my friend group. They're all very progressive, forward thinking fellas.
Mhm.
So they're not like that, but I've definitely been in groups of lads before where if you even mentioned your girlfriend or like the idea of, I don't know, like
Wanting to spend time
mentioning
with them.
anything, you would get
Yeah,
kind of, you know, so there's a little bit of me kind of playing with that sort of toxicity
yeah.
in it as well. Um, and it's funny, I'm actually even myself, I'm still I don't think I've really kind of articulated it like that until just now. So but yeah, definitely I think I knew that up front. I was like, it's fun. I'm gonna have fun by forcing this out there. But everyone thinks I'm slagging her off or somehow reducing the relationship. But I'm definitely not intending to do that at all. Do you know?
How did she feel about the song actually?
Yeah, so so
She
I
wasn't
think
like,
she
"Are you
likes it.
sucking me
I
off?"
think she likes it. No, I think she likes it. So when I was first writing it, I did warn her about the lyrics.
Yeah.
Sort of wanted to make sure that she was okay with it before I sort of even started playing it live, because it's a fun song live. Like, you kind of hold on, and the people that know what's coming all join in then, and the people that don't know what's coming are all kind of like, what? um, but yeah, no, I think she likes it, and she her being like us being like kind of partners in crime with the fostering of cats down here and stuff like that. Now that it's like actually, we have this song, the artwork is of my cat
Yeah.
in a kind of a funny little montage. The song is about my cat. It's now earning money for it. It's yeah. I think she does like
Do
it.
you have to pay the cat residuals for their likeness?
Only that she gets free rent, man. Like, here she is right here.
What's the cat's name? Sorry.
Rosie. She
Oh,
is.
of course, it is. Rosie, I
Yeah.
hope you had a good
She
solicitor
gets free
before you
rent,
signed on.
free
Yeah.
food. She's got two. What's the joke? Is she's got two private
Actually, now that I'm
chefs.
thinking of it, you know the way you have like, animals in like films and stuff. I wonder, do they have to get like representation? There was that
They
dog.
probably have somebody. They've probably got some guardian that definitely has
Yeah,
all of
there was
that
that dog.
wrapped up.
Did you ever see Silence of the Lambs? Remember that little dog that the guy has? That dog was like in, I can't think off the top of my head, but he was in like a bunch of films, or it might have been a girl. I can't remember if it was a male or a female dog, but that dog like had a career, man.
If I
I was
look up
like,
Silence,
of the Lambs dog.
Silence of the Lambs dog, yeah, like I don't remember the
It
dog
has a
name.
Wikipedia page. I know that for a fact.
I found Anthony Hopkins in that. It is like Darla is who you're talking about.
Yeah, if you can have a look at their filmography for a second. They were in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, like the IMDb page is it for Darla? Darla the dog. Hold on, let me see. Darla the dog. Yeah, there she is. Darla, IMDb. Let me see. Silence of the Lamb, Batman Returns.
Yes.
A movies
And she
called
was in a bunch of Tim
Coach,
Burton
The
stuff.
Burbs. Yeah, like loads of stuff. Um, she passed away in 1992. Yeah.
That's a year after Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, is it?
Oh
I love
no.
that they refer to on her IMDb page, like she was an actress known for The Silence of the Lambs. She died in 1992, 2007. That's hilarious. That's really
But I
funny.
wonder, do those animals have to get representation? Do they have like a lawyer who's like, okay, if you want Darla, no, that's going to cost you, you know?
Almost certainly they would have
Do you know how much of a draw she is in the Philippines? It'd be like some island where like,
yeah,
you know how
I,
much
I'm
draw she is?
I'm guessing like so I have a couple of friends that work on like the Vikings set in Vikings. Am I correct
Yeah.
in saying that that's what it's called? The Vikings
Yeah, I
set
don't know where it's
in
shot, but
Wicklow.
yeah, they do show it. Oh, Wicklow is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of it was in Wicklow, and like my mate Tom, who had a place on it, would like tell me they would have these people that would be like looking after a lot of different animals,
Yeah.
right? But they would bring them, they would obviously like look after them, kind of like handlers and stuff like that, and kind of make sure that they're looked after on set and things like that as well. So yeah, like those people would definitely, I don't know, I'm assuming here, but those people shouldn't be too difficult for them to step up and do all of the court proceedings. Yeah,
I wonder if they're in like an actors union,
they almost
actors
certainly
union.
are. Like they almost certainly are. Like yeah, like an animal rights thing as well. But
Actually, I have a very sad story about an animal. I don't mean to bring the mood down, but the first Friday the 13th movie that came out, um, one of the snakes purposely got killed on set for a shot, and the snake was the handler's own pet, and he didn't
oh,
know they were going to do that. And that's like such a tragic story, and
oh
like it makes me
no,
hate that fucking film just
oh
because like
no,
it's such an
that's
unnecessary scene too. Anyway,
like
sorry for bringing the mood down with
no,
that,
but
but
yeah, that is disgraceful. Like
I
it's
have one of them, those minds where it's like if I know a fact that kind of like can't
yeah.
retain it, I have to spout it out.
Do you know? Yeah, like doing that to somebody's pet
Mm.
is I don't know
Doing to any animal
that's
is disgusting.
what is it? The Hateful Eight
Yeah,
have they destroyed it 200 years on the topic of
the guitar, yeah,
sacred things getting
yeah.
destroyed on set. Like the guitar, the Martin guitar that
Hmm.
was like I don't know, dated from like 1860. I'm not sure the exact year,
Yeah.
but and the response to you see the shot where I can't remember the name of the
It was
character, but
what's his name? Well, I can't remember the character's name, but I think the actor was Kurt Russell, and
yeah,
he
Kurt
destroys
Russell's
it. And Jennifer Jason Leigh had to stay in character for that. She
and
didn't know he was going to do that.
you can see the response is real though.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think I also found that quite sickening as well. Like
I do. Yeah, I'm the same. I find that
cheap,
shit like really.
tacky, just so you can get like a bit of a cheap, tacky shot out of it.
Yeah,
It's not, especially when it comes to animal rights, is
yeah.
absolutely not acceptable. I don't think like it's disgusting. And
Well,
yeah,
I'll
sorry to hear about
quickly,
the thing.
I'll swiftly move off animals getting abused. Don't ever watch Cannibal Holocaust. I'll just say that much. That's a very
I
distressing film.
won't. I won't.
I want to ask a bit about when you started A Lethal Black Ooze. You were mentioning kind of doing the PR for yourself. Now, obviously, you had had experience in bands before. You were in Spies, who did really well, and then with this project came connections to Mail and to Gilla Band. Was that kind of easy then to kind of get notoriety, or was it still as difficult as you thought it would
No,
be?
I'd say like in some ways, no, I think it was still challenging. Like when you start any new project, you're still, it doesn't matter. I found anyway, it doesn't matter who you are. You still need to go out and like make alliances and become well known as part of the project. And then
Yeah,
there's like a real snowball effect where like the more shows you play, the more you get. That's kind of a real feeling, especially around Ireland.
yeah.
If you can get into the city and play one show, you're like a million times more likely to get your second show or whatever. Um, no, I'd say in some ways it was easier because I had a plan for the first time ever, and I kind of wanted to test out a load of theories and see what would happen if I did this, that, and the other, and that was kind of fun because I don't think in the past I've ever had those types of goals. In the past it was just about writing music, um, playing as many shows as possible and hope we'd get signed, whatever that meant. We didn't really even know what that meant. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I would, not that those things are coming, because this project is definitely not, in my opinion, this project isn't busy enough to kind of warrant the attention of a label at the moment. But like if a label did come, I would seriously doubt that I would go ahead with it, because unless it's like a real cool indie label from Ireland that's just
Yeah, like
pushing
Blowtorch or something like that. Yeah.
right. And I love Blowtorch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so do
I,
I.
I love Blowtorch. Pizza Pizza's a cool one as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's still going or not, but James from
Yeah, I'm not
Villagers
sure about
runs
that. Yeah.
Any Other City
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I love any project where people are putting compilation albums together and actually
I'm a
pressing
huge
them to
fan of
record.
comp albums. It's a
Love
great way to discover new acts.
all of that stuff, man, right? But like if a label were to actually send me an email now, I don't know if I'd go with it. Like the only thing they can really offer you is like money to do your project, but then you have to pay it back, so you're locked
Yeah.
into that. And I think that's something that I didn't know when I was 19. I don't know what we thought it was going to be. Somebody was just going to give us loads of money.
Yeah.
Like I
We'll go
don't.
to Hollywood and
Yeah, like you don't really think. No, you don't really think. You don't. I don't know. We didn't anyway. I didn't have enough like life experience to know that that was a completely outrageous thing to think would happen. So it's but like as time goes on, I've really found that, and like you can look at this in a good or a bad way. Like the internet has kind of, in my opinion anyway, reduced sort of the value of music to exactly zero
yeah.
euro and 0 cent, right? Like what is anyone's track actually worth? Nothing. Like so what does that actually mean then? What it means is that you've got like a lot of bands that are just doing it because they love doing it, and that's kind of magical. In some ways, it's also quite sad because I have a lot of friends that are genuinely pursuing this as like a living and an art form. And for those people that um I really want them to succeed in whatever their goals are. But
Mm.
I also just think you can't avoid the fact that technology being like the technology that we use to promote ourselves is a natural enemy to you also making money from it, because it's just so easy to, if your song is good enough, it'll be pirated,
Mhm.
right? Or it'll be up on Spotify. And we've all heard the stories about like that. So if you're worried about money, you're not going to put your music on Spotify, right? Because like you're not going to make money on Spotify.
Yeah, I'll
You
be
know,
careful here and just say I don't think Spotify are spending their earnings wisely.
no, and that's another thing. That's another thing. Like I've often, I don't really want to labor this point too much because I do often wonder how long this can kind of exist before there's kind of either a mass exodus
Yeah.
of artists.
I feel like, we are seeing at the moment, we are seeing a lot of people exiting from Spotify. It's actually, it's interesting. It's kind of the second time I saw this. So the first time was, artists kind of protesting over Spotify's, platforming of the Joe Rogan podcast, where this was actually again going back to COVID. It was
Right, yeah.
they were arguing that his show was perpetuating lies about the COVID-19, the
Vaccinations.
vaccination,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
the
remember that.
severity of the disease itself. Now I don't listen to his show personally, so I can't attest to that, but that was their complaint. So a lot of people exited for that reason. Then eventually kind of came back. Now we're seeing it for in which I think a very severe reason. With Spotify's funding, what they're putting their money into with AI and for war technology, which is just like oof, it's
Yeah,
grotesque, and it's just
yeah.
and not compensating the artists that are actually bringing people to their platform. Um, and
You
yeah, now
know,
we're seeing a
if
mass exodus. But I wonder then if they go to a different platform like Tidal or Apple Music or what have you, will that creep start to come back into those platforms
definitely,
then after? Is it just going to follow everywhere? Because I think SoundCloud now
definitely,
are using similar AI tech as well. Not for hopefully as nefarious a reason, but even AI itself is
yeah,
sort of something that some people just want to opt out of, and understandably I do too. But like even running this website, like every day, man, I'm getting like marketers saying, "Here's how you can improve your website with AI. Here's how you can improve
I
your
know,
podcast with AI."
yeah,
I'm like, dude, I don't
I
want to.
know. I know. Like, I think a lot of like any main company exists to kind of make money, right? Like, so if there's money to be made somewhere, I think you'll find that, especially so in the case of Spotify, it's the big bad, most powerful one. And I don't think they can help themselves. I can't remember the name of the CEO, the fella that like kind of put it together or whatever. But like,
I can't think of it offhand either.
I think your brain as an individual human, I don't think we can manage power. All right, right. So you know the way they say like power corrupts or whatever. But
Absolute
like,
power corrupts absolutely. Like,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
that's the saying. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I think that like when somebody gets that kind of power, so let's use Spotify as an example. It's Daniel Ek is the name of the CEO of Spotify,
Boo.
right? Yeah, boo, right. But think about it like this. He has been at the top of this market for as long as he's been doing it now, right? He what was it, Napster in the early 2000s, and then he creates a platform, and it's probably not the first one. I remember there being one called like Groove Shark, that Adam from Gilla Band used to use when we were like
Yeah, yeah.
17 or something silly. But
Do you want that on the record?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If I get a cease and desist from Gilliband,
I
I'm going to
think
be pissed.
it was the
I'm going to frame it
first.
though. I will
Yeah,
like,
it
So
was the
actually,
first. Like it was the first. What I remember there being like a streaming thing that wasn't like a pirate software, right?
oh, okay, sorry,
Okay,
my
so it
mistake.
was the
Sorry.
first
Okay,
time I
okay. So
ever
Sego.
saw like a thing with a play button where you could have a search bar and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So whenever the success of Spotify comes out, I genuinely believe that like the like neural pathways in Daniel Ek's brain are literally rewiring because he's just got so much power in this market space now. He's getting so much money. Like I don't know what his net worth is. I don't care. I'm assuming he's somewhere in the high millions, near billions at this point, right? I have no idea what his net worth is. We can probably Google it, but I don't think it's important to the point. But I think at that point, then you're literally going to start looking at
Sorry, you're
You're,
back now. You froze there for
oh,
a
did I
sec.
freeze out?
No,
Sorry.
I think it's actually it's on my end. Sorry about that. Yeah, as
Oh,
you were
it's all
saying,
right. What
sorry,
was the last thing you heard anyway?
you
What was the
said I
last thing?
don't know what Daniel X net worth is.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know what Daniel X net worth is. I'm assuming it's high millions, up to the billions at some point, but I don't think it's important. I don't think it's important to the point. But when you have that kind of money and you have that kind of power in a marketplace like this, I genuinely believe that the neural pathways in his mind are rewiring, and he's now no longer able to relate to normal people.
Hmm.
So he is going to go ahead and put money into military technology. It sounds ridiculous to say, right? That like your music's on a platform and it's doing that, but that's actually what's happening, right? So he's going out, and definitely behind that is a bid to earn more money and get more power, right? Or whatever. And I guess it could be any platform. The point I'm trying to make is it could be Bandcamp, it could be SoundCloud. And what you'd find is, regardless of who it is, I have very like low faith that any one of them would use their platform for good. Do you know, they would all end up falling apart and doing something awful or heinous. So there's a part of me, if I had it like my way, I'd unionize every single artist, right? Let's just say complete hypothetical situation,
Sure, sure.
right? I would unionize every single artist, get us all together, and just unanimously agree to pull all of our music off of all of these platforms, right?
Yeah,
Using personal websites to platform your music, sell your own merch, right? And I think what you'd find is a really interesting flip where things aren't the side bonus to not giving people power that aren't going to use it well is the actual act of finding music and listening to music again would be really special, because part of Spotify's problem, in my opinion, is like you have everything. So you don't actually think anything has nothing feels special. You just have it. You can just search it, right? Like I don't know what year you were born in, but we did
94.
94, right? Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah, you would probably remember life before the internet then, right?
kind
Like
of. Yeah, yeah. Well, not the internet was around when I was born, but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so like
It
I
wasn't in my
was
household for
like
until I was like 8 or something.
right, exactly. So I was all right, so that would have brought you to like 2002, right? Like
Hmm.
I was born 1990, and
Hmm.
I remember not having internet. I remember not having a computer.
Yeah.
Um, and like if you found a band that you liked, it was real special because it was hard. Now on paper that sounds bad because it's like, well, I want to listen to loads of music, and that's just like why would I choose to do that? Because the act of actually going out and discovering music is quite a special thing. How do you find your music? Suddenly, immediately going out to gigs becomes a more interesting thing to do. Suddenly, listening to radio becomes a more interesting thing to do. Suddenly, listening to, like, okay, so let's say your show, maybe it's not on Spotify anymore because Spotify doesn't exist in this hypothetical world, but maybe you set up your own website and I'm like, I'm going to go and listen to Post-Burnout episode 300 and whatever is
Yeah.
out this week.
I
I'm
don't know
going to
how
listen
many
to
I'm
that.
on.
This is something that I listen to now every week because so I don't know. If it was up to me, I'd get rid of all of these platforms. All the artists would just pull them off. We'd all go DIY
Yeah.
underground and like kind of take whatever little power we have back to like the art form of finding, discovering, going out to gigs, listening to music, writing music, and like engaging in a community of artists that isn't sort of I sound very preachy now. I don't mean to. This is just like a thing that I've always wanted to happen, but I know it won't, just because I think it just takes too much coordination from people in
Yeah,
order to
I
actually
mean
make
that's the
something
other
like
thing
that
too.
happen.
Like
But
so many people feel like, oh, I have so much to lose if I'm not on Spotify. Because I think of like that initial pulling of the music, and it was Neil Young and Joni Mitchell were kind of the sort of the figureheads of that initial movement against the Joe Rogan thing. And to me, it's like, well, you kind of have the capital and you have the fan base, but it's kind of the onus then is on the up and comings. Like if they're not on Spotify, they feel left out part of the equation. Even when they go to like local gigs, like every artist is like, Oh, this is a song. We have it up on Spotify. You can listen now. And it's always Spotify as a reference point. It's not like we have it
Yeah.
online or anything like that. So it just seems like, I don't know. I think it is, for some people, it's probably too much to ask. And you know what's really disturbing, I think, is actually the amount of apathy towards things. Like so many people still kind of want to be apolitical. And it's just like, I don't know how you can be today. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
of course. I
It's
know.
just
Either
impossible.
that or maybe, look, not that I feel like a lot of people might be worried to engage in political conversations because even in groups of people where everybody unanimously agrees,
Yeah.
uh, definitely I would fall into the bucket of people that's just kind of like, if you're having a couple of pints with a few friends, you definitely don't want to start off that loose cannon in your in your group and just, but
Yeah, but sometimes it's funny when you meet like when you have friends and you're like they're right on about everything, and then it's just like one thing where you're like, I can't believe you believe that. It's just
I
like,
know, yeah. And then
I don't
all you
even
have to
believe
do
you believe that.
all you have to do is introduce 3 pints of Guinness and suddenly
Yeah.
everyone's Michael Collins. And it's like yeah, exactly. I know. I think to pull it back to that point, I'd love that in that parallel universe where none of this exists. And I'm able to go, Aaron, like, what band did you find this week? And you'd be like, dude, you got to check this out.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's really special, and
yeah,
maybe you could, I don't know, in this world you'd send me their website or something like that and they'd have a
yeah.
page that kind of shows their music or something like that. I don't know, but
Could I
that's
offer an alternative solution to this problem? Maybe we should make more centralized music platforms, create more billionaires, and just pray to God one of them is altruistic. Would that
right.
work? We
Yeah,
just need one
I don't
altruistic
know.
billionaire. We just need one.
See, I don't
We
think
will end world hunger.
I don't think it'll ever happen. That's
Like you
the
look at
thing.
like Elon Musk's net worth, and I'm just like, how the fucking like one person accrue that amount of money? That should be fucking
I
illegal.
I know, I
And
know.
then you say that, and people kind of go, "What? You don't think there should be billionaires?" It's like, why do you think there should be?
I
I just
know,
don't
yeah.
understand why someone needs a billion of anything.
I know they literally couldn't spend it if they tried. Like,
It's insane, yeah. Like
they
just
literally couldn't
pissing.
spend it if they
Imagine just
tried.
having like 40 million to piss away on Twitter. It's like, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty awful.
I know it's a crazy world we live in, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
and I'm so back to your point earlier on about being desensitized to numbers. Like,
yeah,
that's an outrageous thing to say, but I've heard it so many times that I don't even respond anymore. I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you know.
It's absurd. I want to ask you something about. You're from Waterford, so the first question I want to ask on that is: Waterford is famously Ireland's first city. Does that give you a semblance of pride, or could you care less?
So I'm actually from Dublin,
Oh, okay.
but
Sorry.
my wife's from Waterford, and I've been
Okay.
living
Does
down
that
here
give
for
her
three
pride
years.
then?
Yes, absolutely. They love it. They love, yeah, they love it. Like, but it's really special. I think I was blown away. So I knew profoundly little about Waterford before I met Rachel, and when I started coming down, just when we were in a relationship together and kind of meeting her parents and her friends and stuff like that, the city has a way of being like you can walk it from end to end and kind of from like I mean the city limits in like
Yeah.
kind of 10-15 minutes, right? It's small by like Dublin standards or whatever. But when you get into the history of it, like you can't actually walk more than 2 or 3 steps at a time before there's a whole list of names of really important people. Do you know like I remember when we first moved down 3 years ago, I said to Rachel, I was like, I want to walk into town to kind of get a feel for what that's like because I was so used to just walking around Dublin all the time. So it was a lot of fun, and we were just like walking past the Viking Wall, and that's just like a casual, like 1100-year-old
Yeah.
stone wall that's been there since it was regarded as Vader Fjordur, and that was the first like faction that really got involved. And then you're walking around, and it's like the Black Friars. You've got not one but two cathedrals that were created by the same architect because the Christians were trying to ally together against Muslim traders and all sorts of mad stuff. You've got like King Henry uh, has a huge like there's a load of history about King Henry being involved in Waterford and um, like it's amazing. And the pubs are unreal. All the pubs are like 250 years old.
Yeah.
So like and they have like these old wells in them. Like if you're down in Waterford, man, there's a stretch of pubs.
I haven't been since I was a teenager. Let's go back. I do really like Waterford, but I haven't been just circumstantially. I haven't been in a couple of
Absolutely.
years,
Well,
but I
if you
love it.
do ever find yourself down here, man, drop me a message for the crack
Yeah.
because but like some the pubs are all like 200 years old. I had a friend down from Dublin recently and it was his first time in Waterford and we went to a place called Downs's.
Mhm.
That's what like is locally they call it, but it's called Henry Downs on the thing. We're out in the smoking area and there was this like what I can only describe as this massive cast iron door with this padlock in it, right? And I was kind of looking at it and I went like, is that real or are they kind of leaning into it? And a fella did tell us it's real and
Yeah.
it was the original whiskey seller. They had to lock it. They had two padlocks because you couldn't trust any one person with a key. So,
It's like the beginning of
so
War
it's this
Games when they
whole
have the
thing.
two keys.
Yeah, like it's unreal. So you just point trying to make is it's if you were just to walk end to end, you get past it pretty quick.
Oh.
You get past it pretty quick, but like when you start thinking about the history and the kind of culture in it, like you actually can't get past it at all. Like it's just dense with culture. Like the tricolor was first flown here back something like 1860, so years before the Irish Free State was ever established, and it like it hung on a building down in a place called the Mall for like 11 days before the
Yeah.
British Army took it down, and like all sorts of carry on, and it's anyway, it's enough of that history. But yeah, it's an amazing
No, I'm very interested by this. You're not
it's an
boring me by
amazing
any means.
city to be living in now. Uh, yeah, so it's just yeah, it's so I have to say it's got a really cool little scene as well.
Yeah.
And it's one of those
I
things where
wanted to ask about that,
everyone
like the
kind of
music
knows
scene in
each other.
Watford, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Simpos are amazing. There's a new band. I think they're kind of a mixture of Wexford, Waterford, and Dublin. Um, Bad Mothers Union. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've heard of them.
I have heard them, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where Black Ooze is playing in a pub called Jeff's with Peer Pleasure from Wexford in
Yeah. For pleasure, great.
August. Right. So and like in the time that I've been living here, I've really felt like there's been an uptick. Like we saw Skinner in a really cool pub called Phil Grimes. And
Yeah.
actually, not to harp on about how great Waterford is, but the gigs are all much more intimate.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
Didn't
can't.
I know you were on Mike Watch show. Didn't he play recently with his new band?
Yeah, yeah, in
Where
the
was that
local
roughly?
record shop. That was
Yeah,
amazing.
what's
Yeah,
what's the name of that place? That place looks sick. I've seen some video from there.
you
It's like
should
a
check
skate
it.
shop,
Yeah,
isn't it, as well?
Luca Records and Decks is
Luca
what it's called.
Records, yes. That place looks sick. I'd love to go to a show there sometime. Have you played there?
Yeah, we actually only played there last month. Again, we were opening for actually Australian punk band Civic. I don't
Oh,
know if you've ever
Chimers,
heard
was
of them.
it?
Well, actually, no, it wasn't. I love
Oh,
Chimers as well. I was at that gig, but I
I know
wasn't
they were
part
playing
of it.
recently. I don't know if they played Watford on that tour, but yeah.
No, Luca Records is really special. It's
Yeah.
between it and Phil Grimes is kind of the two main spots for like gigs at the moment.
Yeah.
And in the time that I've even been here, like we're beginning to see like a big uptick of like bands coming down and putting Waterford on the map and coming down
Yeah.
and like actually playing um and it's really special. I maintain like okay, so you know when you're living in Dublin, you can like just kind of go and find a gig that's on, right? And it'll be in like the Grand Social, or it'll be in like
Yeah.
Whelan's, or it'll be in Chennai or something like that, right?
Hmm.
Love Chennai, by the way. Shout out to Chennai.
Yeah, Sinead's great.
Yeah,
A bit hot, but I like it.
a bit hot.
It's a bit hot.
It's a bit
I always
hot.
come out there sweating buckets.
It's a bit hot, but
They
it's
could invest
amazing,
in
right?
some AC probably, but I don't know. Dude, I used to work at I used to work at the Olympia and we couldn't get AC in there for some reason because the building was so old. I forget the reason, but they couldn't install an AC in there, so they'd always have to have the overhead fans, and they just
Yeah,
open the doors just to try and let wind in. It was
yeah,
such a primitive way, and everyone just be coming out
yeah.
like.
Um, but it's so Chennai is really, really good. But I find there's a lot of bands that you would see. So let's say they're playing the Grand Social or
Mhm.
even the Workman's Club, the main stage in the Workman's Club. I've
Yeah,
always found that it's kind of like in Dublin, it really feels like you're at like an event and it's not that intimate and you're surrounded by a lot of people that are all kind of musicians or they're students of art
Yeah.
and there's a real feeling of like academia and like sitting there watching and kind of stroking your beard, right? For right, that's Dublin.
I get
That's what it
exactly what
feels
you're
like to
saying
gig
now.
in Dublin.
No, I'm just
But
feeling like it's a bit of a personal attack, but go on.
but then in Waterford you come down and the bands that make the effort to come down, like it feels like, and this obviously is helped by the fact that like, Phil Grimes would be about the same size as Sinead
Yeah.
to be in a to sing, and Luca Records is, I don't know if there is a compare. It'd be like playing in Spin Dizzy, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
but what you get from those is you get these really special, intimate gigs that don't exist really in Dublin. Um, Mail came down, Mail and Cola and Junk Drawer came down on their tour, and it's almost just like a bunch of people having the crack at it feels kind of more like a house party that they're playing in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, and there's that DIY vibe about it. And in my 30s, I've come to realize that I really, really enjoy that. I really
Yeah.
like that much more than standing in the crowd at the Grand Social in that big, massive open space with 300 people. There's something not that special about that. Do you
Yeah, I
know?
get what you're saying. I think like I don't know if you agree with me, but there used to be. Do you remember the place opposite the Tivoli on Francis Street? Drop Dead Twice.
Yeah,
They kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
offered what you're talking about, and now I think the spiritual successor to that is on Shaw on Camden Street. I think that's
Yes, you're
about.
right.
I
Like
think those are
50
about.
people
I think they're
camp or
about
something.
as equivalent. I actually do love those shows too.
Yeah,
Like I love those kind of more intimate, kind of like it really does just feel like seeing your school banks. Like I remember when I was like a teenager and seeing my like friends' bands and stuff like that, and they would just play wherever they get a gig. And there was a place near Griffith College called the Headline Bar, and they used to
cool.
I don't know if this is legal or not, but they used to allow all ages shows during the day. We weren't drinking, we weren't doing anything, but like I remember just like really appreciating those kind of shows and the idea of like playing somewhere like the Grand Social, which is actually very accessible for smaller bands now. But like even the idea of playing there was like like playing the arena or something. It just
I
seemed
think
that
it's just,
grandiose.
if you can pull 300 people, the temptation will always be that you do. But the bigger the gig, and like I'm not trying to hit the Grand Social, I'm actually just using it as an example of
No, I get
like
what you're saying. Yeah,
why
yeah,
I like the smaller DIY gigs. But um like as an example, a really exaggerated example, so I can get away from bitching about the Grand Social, is I saw the Rolling Stones about 2 years ago when I was in Vienna, and it's in a football stadium, right? Now, obviously, people go to gigs in the Aviva and stuff all the time, but it's a
Croke Park and
circus.
stuff.
It's
Yeah,
not a real gig, in my
yeah,
opinion. This is going to sound very elitist of me, but it's a circus.
yeah,
The sound is rubbish.
yeah.
It like you're not, it's really there to see the Taylor Swifts and the
It's for the spectacle. Yeah, I get what you're
right.
saying.
It's for the
And
spectacle.
people would feel ripped off if they didn't. Actually, good counterpoint. Lana Del Rey played the Aviva recently, and I didn't see the show, but a lot of people were complaining that it didn't have that spectacle, that was just songs, and they were like, this should have been at the arena or something like that. So
Oh, right. Interesting.
I, I,
As
I,
in, they
I don't.
wanted the all dancing, all
Yeah, like
flying
this isn't
around.
my
Yeah.
personal opinion, but I think Dua
Yeah.
Lipa played there like just the weekend before. So I think Dua was on Friday and like Lana was on like Monday, and
Wow.
like the Dua Lipa show was the extravaganza that people
Just
wanted, and then
casually two of the biggest pop stars in the world at the moment.
I know.
Um, and like I think it's amazing what people go to these shows for, where like if I'm thinking about what is important to me in like a gig format,
Mhm.
it's not bigger is better. It's smaller, like less is more.
Yeah,
100% less is way more. I would choose to be in Unsha. Like, don't get me wrong, being wall to wall in Dublin isn't a great feeling either. And that's why Waterford plays such a great part in it, because the scene being smaller, you're not like fighting, you're not like, it's not like a queue down the road
yeah,
either.
that's another thing. Yeah,
So, like, that's part of the reason why it's
and
so
the other
nice in
thing with the
Waterford.
Dublin music scene is that like so many times, man, you won't believe it. Like I could go like a week without seeing the show, and then like there'll be one day where like three events are on that I want to go to. And like, well, now I have to pick
Right.
one and all that. It's such a pain in the arse. Like,
Yeah,
I do
like,
like the idea of it's funny because like I do kind of like the idea of like part of me likes the idea of fewer venues, but part of me is also like, Well, it's probably good to have the variety. I don't really know how I feel about that. I don't know.
Well, once the
I'm kind of
population,
ambivalent. Yeah.
like the population matching it in Dublin is fine, and
Hmm.
uh, I think it's just more the
Do you
size
think
of the
actually?
venue for me
Sorry,
is just a
sorry.
big part.
Do you think the idea maybe of having fewer venues would be perhaps, and I'm only thinking out loud here, I don't know if this is real or not, but maybe like if a couple of bands came to the same place on the same day, rather than having to, compete, they might just consolidate their gigs more or something like that. Or
Like I don't know, so you're talking to somebody like I'm quite particular. Like I bring my own amps to every gig I do, and that's because part of the sound for me at least, it's special to me is I know how my amp is going to react
yeah,
to my pedals, and that's part of my sound. So I'm very firmly in that camp. Uh, and I don't know. I feel like if you had less venues and I don't know. I can't imagine bands coming together and like working together more
maybe that's my kumbaya
than they
hippie
already are,
thing.
you know. Yeah, 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 but no, but seriously, it's a good idea, and like I think bands do work quite well together. Interestingly enough, and this is an observation I've made, is like in Dublin you would have a gig and it'll only have two bands,
Mhm.
right? And that seems to be, very rarely do you see three bands on a bill in Dublin.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think some places they are starting to put on like 3 to 5. It kind of depends on the promoter. Some promoters do that, yeah.
so like, that doesn't really exist down here. Now you can do that, but like most of the time you would see no, Luca Records puts on two bands for sure, but like I see a lot of bills down here that have four bands on it. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have the stamina to listen to four bands, right? And that's probably the reason why they,
Sure.
opened up and they only do two, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't it's not so much of a hard and fast rule here, like
Yeah.
um which is quite interesting. Uh, like I guess pulling it all back though, I've just found in my 30s I'm almost going back to basics, like where I remember the first gig I ever went to was in like a ga club thing. The sound was
Yeah.
probably awful. I can't remember it, but I have this fuzzy thing of watching like a local punk band playing the stuff. And I remember thinking, this is unreal. I was 16 or like 16, 14 maybe. I can't remember. But
Mhm.
I remember thinking that was unreal. And then at some point you grow out of that and you think the Grand Socials and the Button Factories and Vicar Street and Olympia are the things that you want to think of. But then when you actually play those plays, or when you start going to gigs in those places, I've ended up just kind of coming back and being like, no, I love going to like the likes of Luca Records, and I love going to the likes of Phil Grimes, um and likewise Unsha, Shine.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite venues. Could Shine do with some air conditioning? 100%. But that's part of it, so it's, yeah.
One thing I observed recently was I was speaking to a bunch of acts from Belfast, and I remember when I was growing up, and I'm sure you relate to this. What I always found interesting was that every time an artist would come to Ireland, they would always do Dublin and Belfast, and and you could always kind of see the symmetry between the venues in both cities. For example, like if a band played the SSE in Belfast, they'd play the Tree Arena here. If they played the Olympia here, they'd play Ulster Hall there. If they
Hmm.
played the Academy here, they'd play Mandela Hall up there, and so on and so forth. Now I'm noticing that like a lot of the bigger international acts, and by that I mean starting from the Olympia onwards, kind of that realm, are only starting to play Dublin now. But what's more interesting, I think, now is that the smaller bands who used to would only play like maybe Dublin, Belfast, are now actually touring. So not Dolan's Cashball in Limerick, which is part of Dolan's, but the Cashball.
Dolan's would also, the
Yeah.
main stage in Dolan's would also be a pretty big stop, wouldn't
Yeah,
it? For
but now like a lot of them are playing around. They're going to the old 55 or the Rosie and Dove in Galway. They're coming to places like Luke Records, and I think it's
Yeah,
actually better because like now you're
yeah,
like the smaller scenes are actually getting more traction. Like the club level bands are kind of playing around. They're playing places like Grand Social and Workman's and like the Ulster Sports Club and stuff. So I think actually I don't know if that's an observation you relate to or
yeah.
if that's just
I would say for sure. Growing up, it was Dublin and Belfast, and you wouldn't get anything anywhere.
yeah.
Although very famously, like Nirvana played Cork in like
Yes,
1990,
yes. 91, yeah.
People
With
never
Sonic
forget that.
Youth.
But that's really, if you consider, that's really crazy, really, isn't it?
I love listening to stories about that when they came to Cork because like Sonic Youth were the headliner and Nevermind was just about to come out. So some people like were just outside having a smoke while fucking Nirvana were playing, and then they only went in for
Like,
Sonic Youth. I'm like, you guys missed out.
so was Bleach just out then in
So Bleach came
1991?
out in '89. I think this was like, if I'm remembering correctly, I think Nevermind came out in like either September or October of '91, and this was the summer just before it. And
Wow.
Sonic Youth and Nirvana were on the same label. They're on Geffen, and they came to Cork and Dublin to play. I think the Top Hat and Dunleary when they were up here.
So
And
Nevermind was released September 1991,
yes,
and
this would have just been like the month before then. I
wow, and
think it was August
Nirvana.
'91. They came with Sonic Youth.
You are joking. That is so
I love that
crazy.
story.
Because he plays Nevermind songs at
Yeah, he
that
does. Yeah,
show.
yeah.
There
No, no,
are
the
like
album was already
bootlegs.
finished and all. It was just about to come
Wow,
out.
man. Yeah,
So I love
August
that.
20th, 1991.
Yeah,
Literally
yeah.
1 month later, Nevermind is released.
I know.
Okay, sorry, we've gone off on a bit of a tangent there,
No,
but
I love that. I love that story.
you do have these weird stories like that
Yeah.
of like
It's always mad. Have you ever seen like an act that blew up? Like, because I always tell people now that like Fontaines are one of the biggest ones. I'm like, I saw them twice before they blew up. I saw them at the Tivoli with the Horrors and at the Olympia with Franz Ferdinand, and I also saw Pillow Queens before they blew up. I saw them at
wow.
the Button Factory with they're open for Pussy Riot. And it was them and Bitch Falcon, and Bitch Falcon were actually the bigger band at the time.
Bitch Falcon were great.
I
I
love
loved
Bitch.
that
I
band.
got to see their last show. I was so thankful.
I didn't. I remember she gave, I can't remember her name.
Lizzie Fitzpatrick, I
Lizzie
think.
Fitzpatrick. I remember watching a podcast of her and she was talking about nursing throughout the pandemic. And
Yes, yeah, yeah.
she was a
That's right.
nurse, right? I'm not
If she was,
getting
yeah.
that wrong.
I think that's why they had to stop. I don't know anyone in that band, but I know someone who knew her, and he was explaining to me that because it ended during the COVID pandemic, and if I'm getting the details correct, I think the band had to finish because she was just so preoccupied with her
Yeah,
nursing work, which is
yeah.
understandable. But she's
That's
in
it's.
Dose now. I don't know if you've seen that band, but that's like her
Oh, I
new project.
haven't. I'll
I've
check
seen
that
them.
out.
They're blowing up at the moment now too. So
That's cool.
DOSE.
DOSE, cool. I've heard of those. I didn't know that Lizzie was in it, so I'll have
Yeah,
to check that out.
they're totally
Um,
different style to Bitch Falcon, but like really, really good.
yeah, I think when you've drilled that far in, like they did two albums, right? Or did they do like an EP and
I
an album,
I can't remember off the top of my
something
head.
like
Yeah,
that? But they spend a lot of time kind of going around, like I think to get it, like to be excited about something, you need to do something different. Is that right? What was I gonna say though? So like, oh yeah. So back to your point about like seeing bands before before they
yeah,
kind of kicked off.
blew up. Yeah,
I played bass. I filled in for, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Clack. It was Al Duggan from Gilla Band's
yeah, yeah.
side project, along with Paddy Ormond, Hugh Creswell, and a wonderful lady called Kate. Um, uh, I filled in on bass for them while they were supporting Pillow Queens in the Roisin Dove years ago, like I think like 2019 or something
Yeah,
like that. Um, and they were well known then, but
yeah,
like if I'm remembering correctly, they were kind of Bitch Falcon level of well
yeah,
known then.
yeah. That seems
Um,
about right because I would have seen them. I guess about 2017. I think that's when Pussy were 17 or 18. I think.
yeah. And then next thing, the next time I saw them was at All Together now on the main stage. Yeah. So it's, yeah, like I don't know. I kind of, I saw Gurriers. I don't know if you've
Oh yeah.
regard. I don't know if you would say that Gurriers have like blown up, but
Oh, they're well certainly in Ireland. I don't
they're
know what their
certainly
international position.
inflating.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so I saw, yeah, I would have seen Gurriers, not the Halloween gig, but the one they did in Chennai, like no more than a month later than that.
Really, they played Sinead. I guess that makes sense.
They did. It was the first gig that I went to after the pandemic. I
Okay.
remember just it kind of being like quite an anxious experience, but then it was really nice, and they played an unreal show, and it was really inspiring.
I actually remember because the Mail connection. The first time we saw Mail, They did 2 nights with Shellac at the Button Factory, and that was just when
Yeah,
things were opening up. And I remember the fear. That was like one of my first like post-COVID gigs, and I remember like everyone was still wearing masks, distancing, and stuff like that.
yeah,
And people
yeah,
were, and I remember the band, and Steve Alpini, rest in peace. But at the time they were like so afraid of catching COVID. They were like, because they normally would meet fans and stuff after the show, and I got to meet Steve Albini at the Tivoli when they played in 2017. It was just great. I fucked up the photos on it. The flash came out wrong, so we're just too blurred. Fucking, you
Oh,
cannot tell who is who. But anyway, I'm so
I'm
proud that I
sorry.
got to meet Steve Albini.
And now that he's gone as well, like
Yeah,
that's probably so
I
sad.
know. And like when he died, I was like sharing that photo, but you couldn't like make it out. I'm like, you'll have to take my word on it that this is Steve
Yeah, yeah,
Albini. But that was great. Like that's when I first saw him Mail. That's when Roisin and Zoe were still in the band.
yeah.
They were so good.
I know, and their new stuff is really good as well.
Yeah,
Actually,
what's that
to
one?
that
One
point.
eight hundred.
Oh
What's the song?
yeah.
That was
So
so
have you
good with
seen
the
them
tells.
live? Have you seen them live?
I
The
haven't seen them
new,
live
the
in a
new
while.
iteration.
I haven't. No, I haven't seen the new iteration yet. I really want to. I think they were actually playing on Shaw, and I couldn't
So
go for some reason. I can't like.
that song live is amazing.
Yeah,
I
I
saw
saw a
them in
recording. It was on what's that radio station in
KEXP,
Portland? Yeah,
KEXP.
they
Yeah,
were playing it there, and they were literally just they had the dial there,
it's
on the
unreal.
bass.
Like no,
So
like
that's fucking sick.
so I had no expectations. So I had seen them in the original iteration,
Yeah,
and Roisin was like a wizard on stage. He had like this mad persona,
yeah,
and it was amazing to watch. And Zoe's just this terrifying
yeah.
presence as well. So I was really wondering how they were going to do it, kind of
So was I.
without such like magnetic characters
Yeah.
on the stage with them. Now,
Because Zoe was still in the band for probably about a year after Roisin left, so it was still going with that iteration. And then Zoe, I think, only left either this year or last. I can't remember off the top
right,
of my head.
yeah, exactly. Now, knowing Jamie personally, as you know, Jamie's on
Yeah,
Rosie with us, like she's also quite magnetic, and
oh, totally.
but then I just wasn't sure how they were going to spin it because it felt like they had figured out this thing that they were going to do. Their gig in Luca Records was unreal, and I hadn't listened to any of the new songs before I went in. And normally I try to, but sometimes I actually just enjoy going to a gig with zero expectations and watching
Yeah,
it.
me too.
And when she pulled out the like, I don't know if
It's
it's a
like a
phone or
numerical
if it's like a
keypad. Yeah.
beeper or something, yeah.
Yes, it looks like a numerical keypad, like the
She
one that you would use on a
holds it
phone.
over her pickup
Yeah.
and puts in the like. So if you get
Yeah,
the
because I
chance
thought that
to
would be
see
like a
it, like
backing track or something like that. I didn't
no,
think it was
yeah,
actually going to be performed live.
well, when I saw it, like, 'cause it's actually like a solo. Like,
Yeah,
it's actually a bass solo. That's the
yeah.
irony behind that. It's actually a bass solo because she's holding it. At very least, what it looked like live was she was holding it over the pickup of her bass guitar
Yeah,
and like inputting the and then the pickup's obviously picking it up and pumping it
sure.
out of the bass amp. So yeah, it's actually a bass solo, which is ridiculous to say, but like, but it is. It's super cool if you get the chance to see them live,
I
do that
will. I would love to
because
see them live
yeah,
again.
like
I will keep my ear to the ground.
yeah, and Pursuit is just haunting, but also a real, uh, like a real absolute belter live as well. Like
Yeah.
Connie just starts shrieking her head off in the middle of it, and it's really powerful, you know. So
Well, Andy, you've been very gracious for your time, and I don't want to take up too much more. I just want to ask a little bit about the current iteration of Lethal Black Ooze. You mentioned now there's more kind of like permanent members. So, if you could talk a little bit about them and how kind of they got into the project.
yeah, so Tommy who plays bass, I had just Tommy had also
Sorry,
just moved
could
back.
I ask for full names just
Oh
before
yeah,
when I
Tommy
read the article?
Maloney.
Tony
Tommy
Malone.
Maloney, who played in another band called Slightly Dishevelled. I think they've called it a day there recently enough. Um, but yeah, so Tommy and me met at another gig in Waterford, and I kind of just, what was it? I can't remember how exactly I got chatting to him, but I sort of just knew he was a musician by the cut of him.
Yeah,
That's
I
the only way I
get
can
no, I
describe it.
actually get
I was
exactly
like
what you're
looking
saying.
at him, and I was like, "You
Yeah,
play music," and
you
then
have the scent.
yeah, well, how did I don't know how
I
I
no, I,
knew.
I I know what you mean. Like you just meet some people and
It
you're like,
was
yeah, you
weird.
can
It's
play.
gonna sound strange, like the clothes he wears.
Yeah,
But no, I just got chatting to Tommy at a gig, and it turned out we had a lot of like similar kind of like friends in Dublin. I had just moved, so I had moved down to Waterford shortly before, and Tommy had moved back home. So Tommy was originally from here. He'd moved back home from Dublin after finishing BIM,
Mhm.
and um, and then the story is we met up a couple of times at different gigs around Waterford and stuff, and kind of just became closer as friends in the area. And then I said to him one day, would he be up for like having a jam with me in this like
Yeah.
Black Ooze? That there had been like a Dublin project, but that was sort of over now, and I'd recorded those songs and would be looking to start writing with new people, but didn't know who that was. And when you're in a new city, you don't know people, and you don't, you know. And one of the things that I always want to make sure I do is like I don't invite people in unless I kind of know that it's already sort of going to be a good match, because I don't like getting into the business of whether something's working out or not like that. I always try to, but it was quite clear that me and Tommy had a lot in common. So I was like, would you be up for a jam? And we met, and there's a rehearsal space called The Hive in Waterford. And the owner, John, was walking past. Myself and Tommy had literally only played Sha'u Sha'a at this point, which is also out on Spotify. Cough, cough.
Yeah, on Spotify. Everyone go to Spotify and get
Everyone go
his
to
music.
Spotify. It's also on
See
Bandcamp.
what I mean, though? It's just like it's the natural thing to go. Yeah, it's on Spotify.
I know,
That's
I
that's
know.
something we're gonna have to relearn
We're
if
gonna have
everyone's
to
gonna
relearn that.
protest.
Yeah,
It's on Tidal.
it's yeah, it's on Tidal. Yeah, it's also on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
If you're a kind of a non-Spotify
Do you
person,
just
but
use, sorry, just when it comes to distribution, do you just use like something like DistroKid where it just like distributes everywhere, or do you like are you more
yes,
selective?
I use CD Baby at the
CD
moment, but
Baby.
like I was saying to you, like I don't know. I don't think, not for me personally. Like there's uh there's no value in. I have it on Spotify because in Ireland Spotify is the platform. But
Yeah.
if
I think
Spotify wasn't
internationally
on the
too.
platform, yeah, and internationally it is. But if Spotify wasn't the platform, I wouldn't be on it, and I would probably just use Bandcamp in the short term.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, if I was really serious about it, I'd get a website set up and have a page where I just release it myself, and people that are interested can go to the website, right? And I know that sounds very strange because people are like, you want to make sure that all of your taglines are all the same, so it's really easy for you to search your band names up. But I actually couldn't give a shit about that. It's like,
Yeah, I suck at SEO. Maybe that's why I
right,
haven't taken off yet. I just suck at
yeah, yeah,
SEO.
but like, how
Someone
much?
came up to me and offered me, it's like someone I knew. It's like, hey, I could help you with the SEO. I was like, great, and I
I
never heard about it
know.
again. So I'm like,
What's
okay.
that? That's a search engine optimization or
Yeah,
something like that, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
so
Yeah,
you're, yeah, like, do you know what? Like, all of that rubbish, like, it's just, I'm not going to say it's not important, because there's a lot of very big bands and a lot of artists I know whose living is to make sure that all that stuff is working, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah, no, of course.
like in an art form, purely an art form kind of way, where you're engaging in a local community, right? So Ireland, right? Not just Waterford, but like Ireland, Cork, Galway, Belfast, Derry, Dundalk, Dublin.
Westmeath,
Well, yeah,
Fermanagh.
Westmeath, right? But wherever, genuinely, there's a
No, I
lot
get
of
what you're
really
saying. Yeah,
cool places. Kilkenny has a great record shop that I saw
yeah.
Sorka Richardson in. Do you know, like, there's a lot of cool spots that you can go to. But
I think
um,
I think within my kind of thing is like within a 20-kilometer radius, there's probably something good going on.
right,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And um, I think if you're just trying to engage in that and be an artist within that, and just like, do you know, I don't want to say the word hobby because that's actually overly reductionist, because in a lot of
yeah,
ways you are an artist. It's a little bit different than if you're trying to get like the streams up so that you can.
yeah. It's not a
But
vocation necessarily.
exactly, like I'd be off all of those platforms of like not overnight, because I'd imagine when I put the order in it'll take longer than that. But if Spotify wasn't kind of the way, and Instagram, like Instagram is how people get gigs in Ireland,
Yeah, no.
right? Which means you have to have
Yeah,
Instagram.
everyone like Instagram. Like all the artists I interview. When it comes to tagging them on social media, once I put the article or the podcast episode up, it varies. But Instagram is the one platform that everyone has, and
Right.
again, Meta.
And
You
it's and
know,
it's convenient. It's convenient. And actually I won't say it's all bad, because I do enjoy going on to my favorite band's pages or my
yeah,
personal
me
friends,
too.
but
Yeah.
it is also a cesspool of absolute rubbish.
Hmm.
and I spend
Some of which I contribute
right.
to.
But no, but I would say that your page on that is probably a very good example of like high quality like reason to go on and like be engaged and stimulated. But then it's like it cuts to a scene of like Love Island
Yeah,
and you're suddenly distracted because it's edited really well and it's
yeah,
caught your eye. And then you've forgotten why you went onto Instagram in the first place. And then it's like ads for
yeah. I
Colgate.
get exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's like, and you're just like 20 minutes later, then you look up, you take a breath, and you're like, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I
That
mean?
happens to
Like,
me all the time. Every time I go to like Twitter I don't really like using Twitter, but like whenever I go on like to upload, hey, this article's out or whatever, like you do just get distracted by fucking engagement farming. You're
I
like, oh my
know, yeah.
God.
But I guess that's the point I'm trying to make is if I could have it if I could have it my way, I would just engage in things. And actually, I've been toying around with doing it myself for like a while anyway, but there's no threat. I'm not losing anything by doing that. So respect to any artist who is trying to make a living.
Yeah.
And um yeah, I really want to I really want to stress I'm not criticizing those people. Anybody that's actually trying to
Oh
live,
no, not at all.
especially trying to pay rent in Dublin
Yeah.
on your music, fair play to you. Do whatever you need to in order to make that happen.
Yeah.
But if
You're
you're
like one of
just
those guys who's like, oh, you're criticizing capitalism while you're buying a coffee. How dare you?
right, right. I'd love to I'd love to get everyone together and just quit all of this rubbish and just be like,
Sure.
you know, this will be better for everyone, I promise. But um I can't remember how I got back onto
We're
that.
just
I
going. We're talking
apologize.
about who's in the band now.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we just finished playing Shadow in the Hive,
Yeah.
and John was walking past, and I said to John, John, do you know any decent drummers in the area? Um, and I was like, oh, what actually happened? I don't want to undersell this, but he goes, right, give me a second, and like walks off. Myself and Tommy are sort of looking at each other in the room, like,
Except
okay.
Magic Hat. Here you go.
And I remember Tommy being like, no, what did I do? Tommy was like, "Oh dear, is this going to be really weird?" And I think I remember kind of going, "Right, well, look, we're in it now. Let's just see what happens."
Mhm.
And Alfonso came in, and he sat down, and I we'd known
Alfonso.
Alfonso Palma. His name is.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, sorry, I
Alfonso.
don't mean to be a dick. It's just I
That's
know
all
when I'm
right. Yeah,
writing
that's
this up
okay.
later, I'm like, I really wish I got the
And
surname.
and if you want any of their like pages or whatever, I can fire them
Right,
over to
perfect. Yeah, yeah.
you.
You have my email, so
Yeah, sweet. I'll send them over. But so Alfonso came into the room then and he sat down at the drum beat. He was like, right, what are we doing? And none of us, like myself and Tommy knew each other, but we didn't know Al. Tommy kind of knew Al, and anyway, none of us knew each other. It was one of the more awkward experiences that I've had in the band because I was like, right, well, this could go tits up, but we're in it now, so let's see what happens. And I said to him, right, because Shatu is just like a little garage punk belter as well. It's like 90 seconds, just go hell for leather. I basically said to him, right, Al, just do it. It's a fast song, just go for it. And he absolutely tore a new asshole in the song, and it was a lot of fun. And I remember being like, cool, that works. And then yeah, we've just been jamming since. We've slowed down. We wrote the entire album then across the space of like a year and a half.
mhm.
So we have that written. We're waiting for Tommy's hand to recover. Then we're going to go recording with Jamie Hyland from Mail, probably up in Dublin. I don't know. If I had to choose right now, I would say that. But and then we're going to mix it, master it, hopefully press it and send it out. I don't know if we'll press it.
It's actually the working relationship we have with Jamie. Obviously, she's played in the band before, but like, when it comes to the production things like that, like how versatile is her range to kind of accommodate the new thing you want to do?
Yeah, I'd say she's perfect for it because she's been on the journey from the start.
Yeah.
Um, so like Jamie never, what actually happened? So Ian was the original drummer and he
Mhm.
wanted to play bass and I told him no because I didn't want any bass, but I might need a drummer. And then
You want to do White Stripe self?
I don't know what I wanted, but I didn't know what I wanted, I think is really
Yeah.
the thing. But what I knew I definitely wanted was a drummer. What I wasn't sure about was a bassist at the time because I was trying out things like just plugging in loads of amps and stuff.
Mhm.
But then Jamie was there on the first day and we just gave her a bass. So then there was bass.
There you
And
go.
I still laugh at Ian because Ian was like, I wanted to be the bassist and was told no, and then ended up being the drummer. And yeah, so it all just kind of flows out like that.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I know it ended up kind of funny like that. But Jamie has been producing it and recording it since then.
Yeah,
And that was back when I had basically a song and a half written. And so she's been on the whole journey and she knows what I'm kind of looking for in it. But then additionally, I think Tommy is a fan of very heavy music as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And Tommy would know Jamie's work as well. So even though the lineup has changed, Jamie kind of remains to be sort of the like maybe best person that I could get in to work with us at this point in time. So it's a lot of stuff. Also, I just love working with Jamie. I think she's great and would recommend anybody to reach out to her because she's just, especially if you're doing like distorted music, she's a real wizard on that front, you know.
One final thing I want to mention actually, and I don't know if I'm being unoriginal here or not, but when I was listening to the music you have out so far, I mean, to me it was reminding me of two bands in particular, and I don't know if these are of any interest to you, Waves and Mets.
So I've heard of Waves, but I've never listened to Waves.
Yeah, Waves are good.
But I've got Dose down here, and I'm gonna add Waves. Waves just spelt normally,
No,
W-A.
it's well, yeah, it's two V's, I think. I
Oh, one of
think.
those. One
Yeah,
of
yeah.
those.
I think it's
Wavves. Is
yeah.
it? Cool. Um, Mets. I was a huge fan of Mets, like
They're so
second album.
good. I always remember I went to see them at Whelan's, and the guy, I can't think of the actor's name now, but the guy who played King Joffrey from Game of Thrones was there, and
Jack,
Jack
Jack,
something, yeah.
Jack,
And
something or
everyone
other.
was
Yeah.
like, going, "Oh, it's Jack," trying to like take pictures of him, and shit like that.
So
And
yeah, like
Enola
yeah,
Gay opened that show, and they're great too. They're from
um,
Belfast.
so Mets. Adam from Gilla Band put me onto Mets
Yeah.
because they had like played gigs with them over in Canada.
Oh,
Um,
sick.
I can't find them right now. I'm trying to remember the name of the album. They have like a first or a second album that blew my head off. I
Yeah.
loved it. Um,
I can't remember their
absolutely
albums
loved it.
offhand. I actually reviewed one of their albums for Head Stuff,
Oh right,
so I
I
and I
have
can't
it.
remember.
I have it on
Yeah,
12-inch downstairs. I
yeah.
can't remember the name of it because
Whatever their most recent one was, they recorded for Head Stuff. I think they're on. I think they're on a break now. I don't think they're fully split up, but I don't think they're active at the moment. I could be
oh
wrong.
right.
Yeah,
Well, they were. It's a long slot. It's a
they
heavy
did
old
like a
slog.
bunch of shows in the UK, and it's like, oh, maybe I'll go over, and just didn't. But
Yeah.
they kind of announced like preemptively this would be our last shows for a while. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Well, I hope they're I hope they're finding fulfillment in their
yeah, me
normal
too.
life. Um, but yeah, they were unreal. I would say that they were I would say they're still much heavier than any of the stuff I come out with is,
Yeah,
you know. Some of their guitar lines are just the heaviest things
yeah.
I've,
They're fucking mental live, too, man.
raw
Have you seen them
decibels.
live?
I haven't even,
They're
which,
fucking
I
crazy.
haven't even,
Yeah,
I would have missed the opportunity to see them in Ireland the few times that they might have been
yeah.
over. But I love that album. Yeah, absolutely love that album. That's a
Who
that's a
who would
that's a
be the
big compliment.
inspirations then, if you don't mind me asking?
Um,
Actually, let's do it two ways. Let's go
yeah,
inspirations
yeah.
from the bands hitherto and inspiration for the bands going forward. Like, do you find that actually the more
Okay.
you listen to new music, that you incorporate different elements from the new music you're consuming into your own projects?
Yeah, so this is quite an interesting question. Like back, so it started out, I went to see, this is going to sound really weird because it's not that at all, but like a really early inspiration is actually Gary Clark Jr. I don't
Okay.
know. He's like a famous blues guitarist,
Hmm.
and I saw him live in Vienna as well the day before I saw the Stones,
I just
and
kind of think
he's
like, were you living
very
in
bluesy.
Vienna or something?
No, I was on holiday and I just went to two
Okay.
gigs
You're trying to get into
when I was
art
there.
school.
Yeah. So he is like he's like a quintessential blues guitarist. So I can't stress that enough. But there was an early EP he did that the production value was just in the dirt and it was super garagey.
Yeah.
and I don't think it exists anymore. But that was massively. It's actually the reason why I chose this guitar, this one here, that he
Is
plays
that a
that.
Gretsch?
That is it's an Epiphone Casino,
Okay.
right? But I saw one was on sale for cheap in Dublin, and I went out and met the person and bought it because I was like, that was the guitar he was using
By the
in
way,
the
I
record.
love Epiphone sounds.
They're great. They're
Yeah.
unreal. They're great. Like
Yeah.
but so he had this early EP that was really garagey, and basically immediately after that the production value just skyrocketed and everything became crystal clear. But that first EP blew, like I loved that so much, and it is why I wanted to be really lo-fi in the first songs. But now how I actually listen to music has kind of changed quite a lot. I'm really, really bad at. So back then, I would make a point of listening to one new album every week.
Mhm.
Whether I liked it or not, didn't matter. Just had to listen to one new album every week and just
So, sorry,
do that.
just new as in newly released or new to you?
No, sorry, new to me.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like just I
No,
hadn't
no,
heard it
just
before.
I'm not being pedantic. I was just
No,
asking.
absolutely. Yeah, no, no, I'm not that good. I'm not that. I
Yeah.
don't have my ear to the ground that well.
Well,
Like,
you know, Spotify tells you about new releases, don't you
I
know?
know, right? I know.
I'm
Um,
gonna get banned off this platform. It's.
but
I hope you
I,
enjoyed this episode. It's the last one on
I know it's going to be the
Spotify.
last one ever before Daniel Ek takes you down.
Yeah. You said what?
Um,
Because it does do the automatic transcription thing, so they know what you're saying.
yeah, I know. And now this is going to be so funny, right? Because after me saying that I hate Spotify, how I actually listen to music right now is kind of weird. I've gone away from listening to one new album every week to putting on a song that might be like pretty basic.
Hmm,
Um, like, so I'm just going to use an example, right? You know, when you're really lazy and you just default to something you've listened to a million times.
absolutely.
So like Songs for the Deaf or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So you put on Songs for the Deaf, but then Spotify will automatically
Start playing
start
something new.
throwing
Yeah.
songs that are algorithmically in that. Now, Songs for the Deaf is a really bad example because I haven't actually done that, but
So it'd be like Kais or something like that. Something that I think is like
yeah,
related.
like
Yeah.
or more recently I put on like Bullet Girl, who I'm jamming with at the moment,
Ooh.
which is a lot of fun. But I put on Bullet Girl, and they're a lovely Dublin post-punk band. And
I've
as I
heard their
was
name.
learning their
I'm not
songs,
familiar with them.
yeah, they haven't gigged in a couple of years now,
Yeah.
but keep your ear to the ground on that one. They'll be
Is there
playing.
someone in that band that's like in another band or something? I recognize their name, Bullet Girl. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Sorry, you were saying you were listening to them
But
recently.
you should keep an eye out for that because we'll be playing a gig in September. I don't know if that's
Ooh.
public. It's not my place to say it either, but we'll be playing a
Okay.
gig soon. So keep your eye out to that, and if you're around, come down. It'd be great to hang out.
Perfect.
But
I'd love to. Yeah.
I was like learning their songs, and all of them are on Spotify, obviously. And then it once that would play over, it would start to algorithmically send me songs, and
Yeah.
that's actually how I like kind of like listen to a lot of music at the moment, where it's kind of sort of nice to just like sort of be like sort of force fed new songs. Some of them I
I get what you're
hate
saying.
and I just skip them, and then
Yeah.
some of them, the ones that I really like, I just keep like a little playlist of them. So like
Dude,
I
I'm the
know.
exact same. I like save them to my playlist.
Right. And so in the same podcast, we've gone full circle. Why Spotify is bad, why it's good. um, but I think one of my favorite tracks at the moment that's really inspiring me is I don't know anything about the artist, but it's the song's called Trans Canada Oil Boom Blues
Mhm.
by an artist called Whitney K.
Okay.
So
I'm not familiar.
judging by his Spotify account, he's not the biggest artist in the world, but that doesn't matter. It just I know nothing more about him than that. But so
Well,
I get these.
if he blows up, you can be like, I
I
approved
was there
here for this
beforehand.
interview in 2025.
Yeah. So he's one, and I was like listening to that earlier on today, and I'm kind of just being blown away by it. Another thing is obviously you mentioned them earlier on. Chimers is just always in my radar
Yeah.
at the moment. There was a band that when I was touring with Melts last year, we opened the Levitation Festival in France for this band Hoover 3,
Hmm.
and they're unreal as well. Specifically, a song called Control. You should all check that out. You
Are
should
they
all.
French or
No, Hoover 3 are American as far
okay?
as I'm aware, and it's stylized like HOOVERIII, all one word.
It can never just be simple, can
No, it can't. It
it?
can't.
You always have to qualify.
I don't know if
That's what I like about your band name. It's like it's exactly as it's spelled.
yeah. Yeah, but that just lets you know that you're like I don't know, I wonder if that's kind of
Yeah. I
that
remember when I
gives you
was
an idea as to how logical a thinker the artist is or something like.
I remember when I was like in bands as a teenager, like we always had this concept of like having the longest band name in the world just to see if you could physically print it on a ticket. But
Yeah,
now no
yeah,
one
that's really
uses like
funny.
physical tickets anymore.
But
Everything's just on your app.
you could also just go over the line and it would be just as
Yeah.
cool.
I wanted
Do
to
you know what I
see how
mean?
long you can make it
Yeah,
and just like make it really,
yeah,
just piss people off.
yeah. So, the one last band that I'm kind of being inspired by right now is not a new band at all. It's actually a very old band, but growing up, I played a lot of Tony Hawk skateboarding, and this
Yeah.
band was on that soundtrack. So it's like Fu
I've been playing the
Manchu.
re-release recently,
Ha,
don't I?
yeah, right,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So I've been inspired a lot by that. Now, unfortunately, a lot
So
of the
what
old
was the band? I
songs,
didn't catch it, sorry.
Fu Manchu, you
Fu
know,
Manchu, yeah, of course, yeah.
the song on Tony Hawk's is Evil Eye. And I've been listening to just loads of Fu Manchu, and it's basically for anyone that hasn't heard Fu Manchu before, it feels like it's just a love letter to like Big Muff, Electro Harmonix Big Muff Fuzz, because
Hmm.
every single song just sounds like the Big Muff, which is great. Obviously, I've been listening to a bit of Minutemen because I was at
Yeah.
the MSSV.
Yeah, by the way, congrats on getting the interview with Mike. I interviewed Mike Watt years ago for Excess Noise, the Belfast music blog, and
Wow,
I was like, okay, I'm just like, I'll just be like half an hour. And I was just like, sorry, I won't take more time. And he's like, no, fuck it, Grant. He just like kept talking, and it's like we went for
he's
over an hour. And then I
sound,
saw
yeah.
your interview was like three. Is that correct? It was like 3 hours.
No, oh no, no,
Oh, was
no.
that just a
Sorry,
full show on
so
Thursday?
he does the full show. No, my
Yeah. Okay.
conversation
No,
was
I wasn't sure. I was like, oh
only
well.
like I think I was only chatting to him for about 40 minutes or whatever.
Okay.
But
Yeah. No, he was so cool.
yeah, so his show was really, really good.
Yeah.
I have to say, like
Wolf from
when
Pedro, it's what it's called if people want to look it up.
right, yeah.
Actually, he's kind of doing the thing you're talking about too. Like he doesn't put his shit up on Spotify, and it's just like if you want to listen to the show, it's there on his website.
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing it yet, but
No. But
I'm
the
certainly
thing you
considering it.
theorized.
Yeah, I'm certainly considering it. I don't know. I aspire to do it at some point. But yeah, they're kind of the bands that I'm sort of listening to recently. Ghost Woman is another one that Melts played with last year that I'm a big fan of. I think the guy's from Canada, but the drummer is from Belgium, and
Yeah.
they're both amazing. They're a duo, and I think they're releasing songs right now. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of everything sort of that's on my radar at the moment. But yeah, check them out.
Sick.
Obviously, also the Mail record is something that
Yes.
keeps floating past. Um, but yeah.
Sorry, I just want to ask. I promise I'll let you go after this. I just want to ask about getting on the Mike Watt, the Watt from Pedro show.
Yeah.
Did you just
Yeah.
reach out, or did he know you?
No, it was Ryan and Luca Records
Yeah.
said to him
Oh, because he was booking
that
the show, was it?
he was booking the show. He'd arrived and they were like waiting to sound check. And Mike turned to Ryan and Luca Records and said, "Oh, do you have any bands in Waterford that you like?" And Ryan said, "Andy's in a band that I like." And then he didn't even think about it. He just went, "Do you want to come onto my show?" And I was like, "Sure."
I was like, ah, nah,
And
I'm
that
busy.
is like
Nah, it's
it makes it
okay.
yeah, like like it looks like there was a process behind that. But actually, it was just very much a case of being in the right place at the right time. And he was like, "Do you want to come onto my show?" And he was like, "I've got a slot in 2 weeks' time." I was so nervous going onto that, man. Like,
Yeah. I was
you know,
nervous too when I first interviewed him, and he just like totally put me at ease. He was like, because it was one of
yeah,
actually, I think it was like one of the first interviews I'd ever done. Because like prior to that, I was just like reviewing records for publications and stuff. And I can't remember if I'm getting the timeline right, but it would have been around 2021. And I think he was like maybe like the second or third person I ever interviewed. And I was like so nervous. And it was
yeah.
just like totally calm. And it's like, cool.
I was very nervous because of how accomplished he is.
Yes.
Um, and
He's in
then I
like a
think
million bands a day.
it's unreal. But also, it was my first ever interview in this kind of format over
Yeah.
like Zoom.
Yeah.
He does his on Discord.
Yeah.
Um,
When I did it, I was trying to set up a Zoom call, and the PR guy who was setting up, Dan, if you're listening, shout out. He was like, "Yeah, no, Mike only does Skype." I was like, "Okay, I hope I can
Yeah,
record this."
yeah, I know, and
I
I
never
found
used Skype prior or after.
yeah, I know. I found it kind of tough actually because I'm so used to just being able to talk to people kind of in person. And also
Yeah,
it was like camera off. So
yeah,
I found it quite a tough interview for that reason. Whereas like, like we've been able to kind of bridge the gap
yeah.
of the internet quite well with our cameras on and stuff like that. But I found it quite a tough interview for that reason. But I may have built it up into my head and got myself a bit anxious because of who I was talking to as well a little bit because he's so, you know, like
Perfect.
the guy wrote the Jackass theme tune, like for fuck's sake, you know.
He didn't write it for Jackass. He just happened to use it.
Yeah, I
It
just
was
ended
came
up
out
being,
like 20 years prior.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, actually, I was talking to the band Hubert Selby Juniors who opened for them in Dublin, at the Grand Social, coincidentally. And yeah, they were just like, yeah, he just like he shoots a shit with people, he knows people, he makes connections, and he's huge friends with the guy Timo from UMAC, yeah, the promoter,
cool.
who does like the underground scene. So like, yeah, yeah, he's a really interesting guy. I love Mike Watt. I just wanted to ask about
And
that.
actually, I've been trying to catch Hubert. How do they say it? Hubert Selfie Juniors.
Hubert Selby Jr., I
Selby,
think it is. Well, yeah,
Selby
this
Juniors.
is an actual guy's name.
I've
It's
been
the
trying to
author
catch
made
them.
yeah,
I've been trying to catch them for ages. They played in Luca Records,
yeah.
and I missed that show. And then I see them on bills all around Dublin, but I'm just never at the. I just never seem to catch them. But I
Yeah,
did.
I haven't catch him live either, yeah.
I listened to your interview by them actually there a couple of days ago
Okay.
as
Was
well.
it was it okay? I don't listen to my interviews after I do them. I listen to them once to transcribe them for the article and that's it, and then I just kind of upload them like, okay,
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was great.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was a nice one.
Perfect. Thanks, man. Hopefully this was great too. I just want to ask a final thing. Lethal Black Ooze, what you got coming up, what people can expect
Yeah,
and stuff.
so we're playing at the moment. We're I'm playing it a little bit handy as our bassist hand heals, but we're
Sure.
booked in. Myself and Alfonso are throwing together like a duo version of our set. So we've got a show booked in Waterford at the end of next month, but we're hoping to get up to Dublin a little bit, just kind of waiting to
Have
kind of
those
see.
shows been announced yet, or will it just kind of be to be determined?
Actually, I think it's being announced tomorrow. Let me give you, and I'm also just hearing from, yeah,
Sure.
so playing on Shut 22nd of August, and let me just find that other date if I can find it anywhere here now. Yes, here it is. And playing Jeffs and Waterford on the 16th of August. So that's what we've got booked at
Perfect.
the moment. Hopefully a few more dates booked in as well, waiting for trying to give space to Tommy to kind of get better on that stuff.
Just follow social media. You'll see it all
Follow
there.
social media, yeah, exactly. I like to post posters.
Yeah. Do you want to do the PRN thing where you go, where can people find you?
Yeah, so if you just search A Lethal Black Ooze, to all of the points that I was bitching about in this podcast, I've made all of our taglines the exact same, and our name is spelt grammatically correct.
Yes.
So,
It actually, this is probably a weird point of comparison, but when I heard your band name, what invoked for me was the second Ninja Turtles movie.
oh, did it?
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I think the second one's called The Secret of the Use, so I was thinking of that.
So, yeah, as like a closer, I think for me, I had just finished watching Chernobyl.
Okay, yeah.
So it was like the elephant's foot was like in
Yeah.
my head. But additionally, also like Grimer and Muck from Pokemon.
Hmm.
So there was like those sort of kinds of things that were flipping around. And then I was like trying to be all distorted and stuff, so I came up thought that was a fun name. But
Perfect, man.
yeah,
Thanks very much for your time, Andy. I could have gone for another 3 hours, but I want to be conscious of your time. So thanks very much, and I really
thanks
did
very much,
enjoy
man.
this. Hope you did too. So
Loads of crack. Thanks, man. And if
thanks,
you're
man.
ever in Waterford, I'll bring you out for a pint. Just give me a shout.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
All right.
I'll give you a shout.
See you later, dude. See you in
Thanks,
a bit.
man. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to that episode of Post-Burnout.com interviews. We're available wherever you get your podcasts, so we hope that you enjoyed and would consider subscribing, giving it a like on YouTube, or a rating anywhere else. We also have some exclusive episodes only available on Spotify, which features interviews with the likes of Kim Deal, Ron Mail of Sparks, Jacob Slater of Wonder Horse, Maria Kelly, Gavin Friday, and many more. So check those out if you're so inclined. Otherwise, thank you for listening and see you next time.